Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Sam Silver, eXp Realty. Welcome to our Charitable Gifts of Real Estate Masterclass. We're just getting started. We have about 10 minutes till the class starts. So go grab a cup of coffee, go wake up, go hop in a cold shower, whatever you're going to do to wake up and to be ready for our Zoom meeting. If you want to come to the Zoom meeting, go to samraocs.com and you will see the link for Masterclass. Click on the Masterclass and come and join us in the Zoom room. So that's what we got going on this morning. I appreciate all of you for coming in, spending your time with me. And I'm going to also open up a clubhouse room at the same time. So if you're driving, you can listen on the clubhouse room as well. So let me open up that room at the same time. And give me 1 second. Start the room. Here we go. All right. We got our room open on Clubhouse as well. Just going to add some different topics into the room. Let's see, learning. Let's see, real estate. And impact investing. We'll save that. Good morning, New Glow, to our room. Let me make sure my mic is working here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It looks like it is working. Let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, cool. It's working. Good morning, Melissa. We're doing charitable gifts of real estate to nonprofits this morning, and we have about 8 minutes until our class starts. So bear with me as we get these different channels running. Let's see. I will have the Zoom going on my desktop or my laptop in a few minutes. And then if you want to, you can join me on my Zoom meeting as well. Okay. Launch the meeting. Here we go. All right. Good morning, Cami.
Good morning, everyone. Let me get my computer set up. Love people who are punctual and excited and getting here on time or even early. So I'm just gonna play a couple of videos and recordings, just waiting for a few more folks to come on, and then we'll go around and introduce ourselves. So let me see here. Share screen. I'm going to share sound because I've learned how to do that now. I don't even need share screen for this, but I want to play Dr. Russell James's reason why he loves what we're doing.
This is Professor Russell James, Professor of Charitable Financial Planning in the School of Personal Financial Planning at Texas Tech University. You hold in your hand the practical playbook for real and meaningful transformation. This is transformation for the causes you care about, for your work, and for your life. Transformation isn't about small adjustments. Small doesn't cut it. Transformation is about going big. Yes, it's nice when someone writes a $50 check to a worthy cause, but it's not transformational. The hard reality is that meaningful change for the causes that are important in your life won't come from $10 here or $20 there. They will come with transformational funding that gives worthy charities the resources to create meaningful change in our world. Where does this major transformational funding come from? It comes from major gifts of assets, not from pocket change. And when it comes to assets, the 500-pound gorilla in most Americans' portfolio is not a checking account. It's not even CDs or savings accounts. It is and always has been one asset: real estate. That's how most Americans build real wealth. That's how most Americans hold real wealth. If we are going to create transformational change for important disease is inertia and fear. The cure? Well, you're reading it right now. This book is the cure. People fear charitable real estate. Charities fear it. They've heard scary stories of
Wanda.
Invited by
Wanda.
Cammie.
Wanda's a rock star. Wanda saw our RV in the Miami area and called us and we've been on her radio show since then, one of the ones that she produces. And Wanda loves helping animals and young girls to grow up into lovely women. What else brings you here, Wanda?
Well, I just wanted to find out more about how this little fundraising and with real estate is working, because I'd like to tell more people about it. So my mission is just to spread the word. So,
Spread the word. And that's what you're doing with Route 664. You want to give us the 30-second commercial?
Route 664, we're working on the campaign, the socialsecurity.org. It's basically donating your anything, any asset or money, and leaving it. We're trying not to supplement Social Security, but an alternative to Social Security, because we don't know what's going to happen with that. And it's just creating retirement income for yourself and leaving the rest to charity when you're gone. Because with Social Security, I believe all that money just goes back to the government. So it just kind of funnels your money and helps causes. And that way charities don't have to fundraise, because it's not so fun.
Amen, sister friend. Feel free to put in the chat any links where people can find the recordings, the live version of your show, etc. Alan, I think it's 11:01. Why don't we start kicking this off? I'll let you introduce us, and I will get us on record.
All right, sounds good. Welcome, everyone. Welcome
Recording in progress.
The Charitable Real Estate Masterclass. We do this every first and third Tuesday of the month at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So if you know someone that needs to know about this, first and third Tuesday of every month. My name's Alan, and I'm the Vice President, and I've known Cammie now for it'll be 1 year and 2 weeks and 4 days since we met. 2 weeks and 4 days. That's December 3rd, 2021. My whole world changed. We met, and as I got to know her and learn more about her passion for what she's doing, I got to really meet someone who, when you hear about someone who's dedicated to a cause, like Cammie is a poster child for that. Like literally, my involvement in this company is an evolution of my relationship building with her, and a knowledge that for her she's so driven for this and so on purpose that the only way that I could entertain a relationship with her would be to jump in with her and work her dream with her, because it's so dominating her life. And I only say that to give her some real credibility about, like, this is a person who has a deathful experience with real estate and with the nonprofit world. Just looking at her Google Docs page has a history of flyers and events that she's been aligned with, whether she was a real estate agent or other, and has been involved in bringing charities and the for-profit community together in order to help businesses identify a cause they can market themselves with, and to help the nonprofit world through the raising of the money. So, with her deathful experience in real estate, and once she explains this to you, you're going to understand why, if you really feel drawn to help your community, there really is no better option than this. So, with that in mind, I just want to introduce the love of my life. This is Cammie Baker.
Thank you, Alan. And Alan brings a lot of skills and powerful ways of being to us as well. His history is he's a veteran. He's faith-based, or Christ-centered, as I have been told it is referred to. And after working with Amazon, McCormick Spice, MCI, he brings a lot of his skill set for sales here with us in human interaction. So, guys, we're going to just jump right in. There is a lot of material to go over today, and there's a lot of updates and upcoming events that I want to share with all of you. By the way, I was just sharing the recording of Dr. Russell James, who does the foreword for our book, Real Estate is Hot. We're going to do a book launch because the book is now ready to be in 30,000 locations worldwide, including Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Books and Books, etc. And 2 weeks from today is Giving Tuesday. 2 weeks from today is Giving Tuesday. And most nonprofits have their hand out looking for cash. we are helping to educate them that they can also give their donors choice in donating real estate. So on Giving Tuesday, we're going to do a book launch and sell the book for 99 cents on Amazon. I got to find out the exact category. So when you want a book to go #1 in Amazon, you pick the specific category, blah, blah, blah. But you'll be hearing about that and be able to give the book, send the book to people. Most of you have already given you a copy for free, whether it's a hard copy or the digital copy. But to go in and buy it for 99 cents will help us all to put it at #1 in Amazon so that we can always market that. This book is the handbook, the pamphlet, the go-to guide, dare I say the Bible of charitable gifting of real estate and how to leverage real estate for real change. So let me share my screen and let's get started with charitable gifting of real estate, the master class. We've been doing this class now for going on 2.5 years. I actually learned about charitable gifting of real estate myself in December of 2019 and March, when everything went to hell in a handbasket with the whole pandemic thing. I had nothing else to do but learn about charitable gifting of real estate, because at the time I was a speaker and I was promoting my other book, and we were doing fundraisers and car shows and bake sales and barbecues and ballroom functions, and they were all canceled. So the good news about that is that's why we are all here today. Whether you're watching this live or you're watching the recording, this all has come together because of all that experience in real estate and nonprofit that I'll be telling you about here in just a bit. So charitable real estate masterclass, friends, this is how to leverage real estate for real change. You're going to learn all about charitable real estate, but even more importantly, what do you do with it? Now, I'm going to remind you of this major announcement that we are adding new ways for real estate to have real change. So for example, we've partnered with a gentleman named Keith Eichley that you are all learning about. There's a group called Beyond Living that is a nonprofit. Not going to get into all the details, but Alan tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern. Alan, if you want to just go ahead and put the Silveris link in the chat with /Cami or /Alan. Alan's going to be explaining how this works tonight. So if someone is behind on mortgage payments and their property's not selling or renting, or they're in a distressed way, we can help them. If investors have real estate that they'd actually like to make more money on their investment property with less headache and time invested in managing it, and be able to give a portion of their new proceeds to the church or to the veterans group, and even to you as a finder's fee, we are adding these ways so that, yes, the first way for us is to donate real estate to help nonprofit. This is the foundation of everything we do is around charitable gifting of real estate. But we also know that even with $9 billion a year being donated in real estate, even with heart-centered, generous people right this red hot minute Googling, how do I donate real estate? Even though it's a big deal, it's less than 1% of people that will ever do that. So why not add other ways to help investors, to help people that are in distressed property situations, and to help you make money and the nonprofit world make a difference? So 7 p.m. tonight would be a good time for you to learn a little bit more about that. Now, warning, danger, danger, Will Robinson. So we have the warning at the beginning of the book and at the beginning of most classes we do, because we really want to grab your attention. We want you to know you are going to be learning things with us during this master class that you didn't know before. And this knowledge can either be a blessing or a curse. Because friends, when you know that gifts of real estate that leveraging real estate for real change, that nonprofits can dip into the 43% of wealth our nation holds in real estate, as opposed to the lousy 3% in cash that they've been going after. Everybody, please mute yourself out. Bo, if you can mute yourself out, don't make me go over there and do that. I just want to make sure we can stay focused. So when you learn that this is a way to help your community and causes and to grow your career and companies, if you don't do anything with it, you're going to lie awake at night not being able to sleep, knowing that the puppies aren't being saved, the churches aren't being built, there are children that are being human trafficked. And when you know that there's a way to help them and you don't do anything with it, it's a curse. But it's also a blessing when you do something with it. So my conscience is clear. I've given you the warning. And if you're going to stay with us, as I know you will, because that's why you're here, I know you're going to do something with us, and therefore it will be a blessing. So let's just start off the day answering the question that might be rattling around in your head, or the question that you're going to hear people ask of you on a daily basis. Who in the world would donate real estate? You're telling me, Cammie Baker, people give real estate away? Well, I can't imagine why anyone would do that. Friends, if you've had that thought, or when you meet people who have that thought, that's exactly the reason you might want to get involved in charitable gifting of real estate, because we need to expand the center of influence that you hang out with, so that you do meet people that are generous, that are heart-centered, that care about the community, and that have the resources and relationships in the world to be able to donate real estate. So Jeff Bezos' ex-wife donated two houses that total $55 million to the nonprofit world. So as you can see from these lovely pictures, this is not abandoned gas station. This is not land up on top of the mountain that somebody can't get rid of, so they're just gonna, unload it on some nonprofit that doesn't know any better. No, this is the kind of real estate that is donated. This is what your nonprofit can get funded by. This is what your real estate business can grow from. This is how any for-profit that gets involved with us can show up in the community as socially responsible. These are the kinds of people that donate real estate. And our book, as I just mentioned, we're going to be doing a fresh book launch so that we can move forward, calling it an Amazon bestseller. We have the list of legacy listing month coming up in April, the whole month of April, list a legacy listing month. And we will be providing some marketing and awareness for you to leverage that. So let's talk about what you're going to learn today. Now, the title of the book is Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, 5 Keys to Revolutionize How Charities and Champions Fund Their Causes, Careers, Companies, and Communities. 5 keys. So key number 1 is to learn. Just learn what charitable real estate is, and congratulations. You're turning that key right now, you key turner, you. You're unlocking that first lock of learning, knowledge. What the heck is this? We have people on this Zoom right now who've never been with us before. And we have people like Bo Weidman, who has been in real estate for 47 years, has 14 designations, and this is the 10th time in a row he's been in this class. We've got Sam Silver, who's been with us for the last year and has been to this class at least 20 times. There's always something new to learn. So congratulations for turning that first key. Now, key number 2, see, now we're getting into that whole warning, blessing or curse, because you're going to know by the end of the masterclass what charitable real estate is, where to find these donations of real estate, how this whole thing works. But if you don't talk to people, it was all a big waste of time, and it becomes a curse because you're not doing anything with that knowledge. So key number 2 is lead generation. Who to talk to, what to say, how to say it. We start getting into that with the charitable real estate champion package that we talk about later on in the day. Now, key number 3, list and liquidate. These are listings, just like any listing any realtor has ever had before. But now, when they sell, they are legacy listings because they're leaving legacy for the nonprofit world, for the donors themselves, for the realtors, the financial advisors, whoever it is that brings this to the table. You're going to learn how to liquidate and how it's so easy to do this with the team that we've put together. Key number 4, leverage. Instead of promoting this buy yourself, for yourself, one person at a time, imagine, if you will, positioning, partnering, promoting together. What if you had 3, 5, 10 people in your own backyard? What if you created your own charitable real estate division where hundreds of nonprofits in your community are learning and benefiting from gifts of real estate, where hundreds of realtors all around the country are in place to help to facilitate these donations? Friends, leveraging is about getting seen in the media. It is about talking to people, not just because it benefits you, but because it benefits them. And of course, key number 5, we're leaving legacy. That's what this is all about. Legacy can be money, or it can be a whole new paradigm in the way things are done. And for me personally, the legacy that I want to leave here is that when I saw this 3 years ago, just like you're seeing it right this red hot minute, when I saw it and the light bulb went on over my head and I thought, holy cow, there are 2 million realtors. What if we educate 1% of them? I didn't know it at the time, but there's 1.5 million nonprofits. What if just 1% of them started getting donations of real estate? See, the legacy that I'm leaving is that when I'm dead and gone, this paradigm shift, this way for nonprofits to get funded and for realtors to be able to step into their greatness, and financial advisors and insurance people and radio producers all over the country are actually walking the walk of doing what they say they want to do, which is help people. Now, this image encapsulates all 5 keys. You have a realtor in the middle, Jessica Peterson, who learned what charitable real estate was. You have a woman on the left who runs a nonprofit, lead generation. See, lead generation happened. Jessica talked to a nonprofit. You have listing and liquidating and leveraging. You have us all getting together to create an image that went into the book, that goes out to the media, that shows people how key number 5, leaving legacy, works. So let me tell you how this is going to play out today. We've got 6 sections, and in between each section, we'll be giving you a little bio break, answer some questions in the middle. Section number 1, we're going to help you understand, what is this donating real estate? Why have I never heard of this thing before? What are the first 2 ways that a donor can help a nonprofit from a gift of real estate? Section number 2, we're going to drill down into, why is this the win-win-win way? We're teaching you today the 3rd way. The only reason those 1.5 million nonprofits out there are not benefiting from real estate is because they don't know the 3rd way that you're getting ready to know. We're going to talk to you about who are all the key stakeholders and how does this thing go down. Section number 3, let's talk about why this is a win-win-win for the donor, the realtor, the nonprofits, the advisors. And friends, if you're here right now, guess what? You're an advisor. You can advise nonprofits. You can advise property owners. You can advise your friends on Facebook to just let them know what their options are. Now, section 4, we're going to get down into the weeds a little bit with financial advisors, donor advised funds, and section 5 is where we really get into the weeds of me giving you an example, okay? A $4.5 million property, traditional sale, donated. What are the tax benefits? How does charitable leverage work? Super important section, so you'll want a cup of coffee for that one. Now, section number 6, we're going to share with you, what does it look like to be a charitable real estate specialist, a charitable real estate champion, because let me just preface this with, once you've learned about this, you can do whatever you want with it for free. Just talk to people. Just tell them. Just tell the donors sitting in your church on Sunday that they can give. As a matter of fact, last Sunday, we were at a church here in the Bradenton area, and at the very end of the church service, there was a slide up on the screen that said you can give cash, you can give a check, you can give online. Here's the website. You can even give in a text message. Those are the 4 options people have. And it all came down to cash. But now that Reverend Reggie and his lovely wife, Rita, know that how this works, last night I mentioned to them, why don't you put bullet point number 5? You can give real estate. And they said, you're absolutely right. We're on that. So we're going to show you how you can get all that marketing material from us today. Okay. Why are you here? As a matter of fact, there's 13 participants on here right this moment. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to open up the screen for about 3 minutes. And I would like for 3 of you to unmute yourself, turn on your camera, and tell us why you're here. So let me stop sharing, because when I know my audience, I can give a much better presentation. Who'd like to go first? Tell us what brings you here today.
I can go.
Love it, Sam. Go ahead.
I'm here for the special needs community. I'm here for the veteran community. I'm here for those communities that don't have a voice out there. I'm actually running this on a few of my social media. There's some small nonprofits in my community that really need support and aren't getting it. And people are realizing there's a lot of people that talk a lot of talk, but I want to make sure that they get what they need and what they deserve, even these small nonprofits. And there's a lot of these little small nonprofits that don't think that they can get this. However, if they don't tell their people, their supporters, and their people that, give them money, help them fundraise, then they're not going to know. So that's kind of, I'm there for the silent, for those that don't have a voice.
Amen. Amen, Sam Silver. So, friends, do not get hung up in the scarcity mindset. I don't know anybody that would donate real estate. Because what I'll tell you is, shame on you for assuming you know what others would do. We have a story of a woman that was given $25 a year for 32 years. And when she found out she could give real estate, Linda had a piece of real estate. Everybody has a Linda. So thank you, Sam, for being the voice of the voiceless. And if you are a small nonprofit, you really need to pay attention, because one gift at an average of $550,000 can change the trajectory of how many people you help. Who's next? Let's have somebody else unmute and speak up. One more, or I'm not moving on. You're just going to stare at me.
Okay. I'm Bo Whiteman. I'm from Vancouver, Washington, and like Cammie said, I met Cammie probably about 10 weeks ago, and maybe 11 weeks ago, because I've been at 10 of these classes now, and I get a golden nugget out of every one. I've sold a lot of real estate. I've taken a lot of designations. My most valuable one I've ever gotten was the CCIM. But you know something? I'm going to sell my next $100 million worth of real estate with the CCRES. And I recommend all you guys that are realtors to get this and promote this to you and your fellow agents, and bring them to Cammie's class, because it'll knock their socks off. If I wasn't getting my socks knocked off, I would be done by now, but I keep doing it. I do have one question for you, though, Cammie. So I see Cami CE Baker. What's CE for? Is that for continued education?
You know, last year I met a numerologist, and I had heard she actually helped T. Harv Eker of Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. She was the one that told him to put the T in front of Harv Eker because it changed the numerology of his name, and that's what catapulted him. So long story short, I had a numerologist who gave me some suggestions, and CE were the letters that I chose, and it just turned, when we got the CE class done, I said, isn't that a weird coincidence? So we like to think it stands for consciously evolved. We got all kinds of fun renditions of that, but yeah, I added it last year. So thanks for asking.
And you know, you and Alan just in the last month got your CE course, approved in Florida. I know you're going to go nationwide with it, so, and add more classes. So those of you that need clock hours in Florida, look at Cami.
That's true, Bo. Thank you for that. That's another little piece of information that I want to share with y'all. If we actually have the next one this Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 is the CE class. It is completely different 3 hours of information than what you're getting here. You have to take that to get the 3 hour credit. It's a whole different system. Okay, I'm going to jump back in. Thank you for playing. Share screen. Okay, why are you here? Certified Charitable Real Estate Specialist, CCRES. Why? Well, because friends, this strengthens relationships. This is the secret real estate niche that is already funding nonprofits by $9 billion a year. And when you're the only one, that's really powerful. Now, by 20 in every state and every city, but you can be the one that's leading that charge to gain access to the high net worth people. Friends, multiple property owners all over this country are simplifying their estate. They're liquidating their hard assets. They are being philanthropic. They are leaving legacy. And when you are the one that is showing them how to do it, you simply build your business. It's just the way that it is. Raise your profile. We're not just a real estate agent or a realtor. We are an advisor to the wealthy. We are an advisor to those who want to show up heart-centered in the world. This raises your profile. Real estate agents earn a full commission. Financial advisors can add to their assets under management, and any for-profit, I promise you, we can show you how to double your profitability. In any nonprofit, you can 6 times. There's no exaggeration. You can 6 times what you're bringing in and do it from the same donors you already have. So ultimately, more introductions, more commissions, more referrals, more resources, more relationships. Here's what you're going to learn today. Donations of real estate are happening. This isn't something that we think is a great idea and let's petition the government and see if they'll give us a tax deduction. Nope, they did it in 1917. It's happening all around you. The question is, when are you going to be a part of it? What are the 3 ways a donor can help a nonprofit with real estate? Section 1, we're going to go through the first 2. And in section 2, we get into the way that you came here to learn about. You're going to learn, why have you never heard of this? How could it possibly be? This has been around for 100 years and you've never heard of it. Well, the reason is because you don't know about the 3rd way. But you're going to today. You're going to learn why donors are trying to give real estate away and who they are and where you find them. We're going to show you how you can be the hero. Your community needs you. They need someone to bring this to them, whether it's you or your top competitor. Someone is going to show them how this works, and it might as well be you and the people you care about. Now, this is the biggest, baddest, boldest, badassest way to do social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, doing the right thing in your business, cause marketing, marketing your business with a cause in mind. Friends, when you hear my story, for many years, we were doing a fundraiser for a nonprofit. Wash, rinse, repeat again, every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, another nonprofit, another one. Friends, when you can help every nonprofit in your marketplace, hundreds, thousands of them, not by taking money out of your pocket, but actually putting money in your pocket from doing it, that is a social responsibility campaign that is not to be missed. Now, you're going to have questions. We want you to know we've been doing this long enough that about 92% of all questions are going to get covered in the material. However, we want you to not only write them down, but put them in the chat box. Raise your hand, unmute yourself, talk to us. I'm here to answer as much as I can. Alan Biles, our VP, is in the chat watching, helping as much as he can. If there's a question that comes up that we can't answer, thank you, because it gives us the ability to go find out. And the fact is, the best teachers are the best learners, and we want to learn as much as we can to help you. So at the end of each section, we will have an open Q&A section. So, once again, don't hesitate. If it's in your mind, it's in somebody else's mind, and you can help them by asking the question. Whew. Section 1. Section 1, we're going to get into the concepts and the collaborators and what is this donating real estate and who are the people that would donate. Now, we've mentioned that there are 3 ways that a donor can help nonprofits from the proceeds of real estate. Now, whether you watched one of our 101 videos, they brought you here, whether you sat in on our live presentation last night at King's Station or any other live presentation, you've been hearing us talk about the 3 ways. We came up with this way of explaining it because Alan pointed out, hey, you know what? There's 3 ways. The first 2 ways people can figure out. It's the last way that they don't know about. And that's what you're here for. We're going to drill down a little bit deeper than what you've heard us say before. So the first way that a donor can help a nonprofit, what if the donor just sells their real estate and gives the proceeds to the nonprofit world? This is a question that we used to get a lot, but now that we're explaining it, we never hear this question anymore because people start to realize this is the worst possible way for a property owner to help a nonprofit with their real estate. So let's use a scenario. Let's see, we've got Sam Silver on with us today. He's out in California. He is a big proponent of many kinds of nonprofits, but I'm just going to use veterans for today, Sam, to keep my conversation simple. So let's say Sam has a nonprofit in California focused on veterans, and that veteran group, all they said, friends, all they said to their donors was, hey, we don't know how this works, but while you're writing those checks and using your credit card, by the way, we can benefit from real estate, just saying. And one of those donors has a condo in Florida.
The local one?
It's $1 million condo. And what if that nonprofit said, hey, donor, go sell your real estate and give us the proceeds? The reason this is the worst way is because the donor, whether they're paying capital gains tax, whether they don't have as big of a write-off off of their adjusted gross income, there are several ways that Uncle Sam is going to get a piece of the action. So in this scenario, that veteran group is going to get the least amount of money, the donor gets the least amount of tax benefits, and it is the most inefficient, dare I say, lazy, old-fashioned, what grandpa used to do kind of a way to help a nonprofit from real estate. It is the worst way because ultimately everyone is getting the least amount of benefits. That's why you shouldn't be having people sell their own real estate and give the proceeds. Now, second way, what if that donor has their condo in Florida. It's got $1 million appraisal. It's got a $200,000 mortgage. And the donor says, I love Sam's veteran group. I don't love them that much. I paid $200,000 for this condo 20 years ago. I want to get my $200,000 back in my pocket. And of course I refinanced, so I've got this $200,000 mortgage. So I tell you what, if this $400,000 gets taken care of, veteran group, you can have the proceeds after that. Well, that's a pretty good deal. After expenses, there's about $550,000 left in this equation. So what if that donor tries to give this scenario to that veteran group? Here's the problem. The nonprofit has to pay off the mortgage and give the donor the $200,000 cash in this scenario in order to take title, which is what gives the donor the tax incentives that they want. Have to exchange hands with a 501c3. And here's what we know. 99.9% of nonprofits will not take title to property. They're not coming out of pocket $400,000. They are not paying the flood insurance and the hurricane insurance and the taxes and the upkeep. They're not going to do it. It's too risky. It's too complicated. It's too pricey. So this is the hardest way. Now, one of our charitable real estate champions, Jim Wooten, wrote the book on how to do it this way, Real Estate Gift. It came out in 2006. He's one of our new best friends because he wrote that book and he understands the hardest way. And if the nonprofit wants to take title themselves, then by all means, get Jim's book and he'll help them through it. The problem is it's so hard. Jim is excited that he has now learned our third way so that he can go back to all those nonprofits who didn't want to do this, because now there's the third way. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So let's learn why real estate owners are wanting, trying, searching for ways to donate real estate, and all the reasons that these 99.9% of nonprofits are not only turning down real estate, but they're turning down the funding. They're turning down the ability to help that many more people. And friends, let's learn how charitable real estate specialists and champions are able to help all of them to get funded. So in order to do that, we need to set a little bit of a foundation. We need to get a couple of definitions out of the way so that we can move forward with a really intelligent conversation. And there's a couple of words that I needed help with and that I've noticed that others needed help with too. So let's talk for a minute about the connection between philanthropy, real estate, and the IRS tax code. So philanthropy is the love of mankind. Friends, it's simply generosity in all its forms: time, talent, and treasure. You hear the 3 T's all the time. You know, there are people who have the time and the talent to start a 501c3 because they're passionate and they got the time and the talent. But there are other people who don't have the time or talent. They have the treasure. Some treasure is cash, some treasure is real estate. So you are a philanthropist by the sheer nature that you're here. You are investing your time, and we don't take that lightly. Now, 501c3 is an IRS designation for qualified organizations that provide goods and services for the public good. We tend to use 501c3, nonprofit, charity, all kind of interchangeably, but really all nonprofits are not created equal. Not all nonprofits can give a tax deduction, but the 501c3 can, and the 508 churches can. Now, tax deduction was introduced by the IRS in 1917, and it gives people who donate to a 501c3 the ability to have a tax deduction, to be able to write off, to save money that they have to send to the government. And this law incentivized charitable giving. The government was wanting to get the community to help more nonprofits, which is why they created this tax law. Charitable giving of real estate is a charitable gift of real estate to a qualified 501c3. See why we have these definitions. It provides the nonprofit or the 501c3 an asset it can sell to fund its programs. Now, sometimes people donate real estate that the nonprofit is going to move into and manage. It could be that a church needs a hall to do their services at. It could be that it is a homeless shelter that needs more specific housing. But 99% of the time, it's property that can be sold to fund the programs and buy the right property. This entitles the donor to a tax deduction against their adjusted gross income. When we get into Section 5 and we do that side-by-side comparison, you'll see why this is so powerful. And if the asset is appreciated, they don't have to pay capital gains tax on that which they donate. This is a big deal too. So really, if you think about it, it sounds simple enough. There's all these property owners who love their nonprofits and they want to donate real estate, or they just want a tax deduction. Either way, they're wanting to donate real estate. Yet it is the risk and the complexity that is stopping the nonprofits themselves from accepting CGRE, charitable gifts of real estate. Let's go through these in a bullet point fashion as to why 99.9% of nonprofits, if they are offered $500 cash or the deed to a property worth $500,000, 99.9% of the time they take the cash and say no to the real estate. Why? Because they don't have the expertise in real estate. They don't have a dedicated team that they have on retainer that they're paying to take care of this. They just don't have the expertise. And friends, even if all of us on this video right now, including yours truly, the author of the book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, even if we sit on their board, what about the money? As a matter of fact, we have somebody on today, Connie Myers. She has a nonprofit. I sit on her board. And I love her and I love what she's doing. And I would never suggest that her nonprofit get into trying to handle these deals, because we're going to keep our scenario of the condo in Florida that's $1 million appraisal with a $200,000 mortgage and $200,000 cash back to the donor. See, somebody's got to come out of pocket that $400,000, and it's not going to be me, and I don't want it to be Connie's nonprofit either. So real estate diverts their attention. It creates what we call mission drift. They're drifting off their mission when they start trying to figure this whole thing out. When they're having board meetings, trying to figure out how to take title and who's going to come up with the $400,000 and what real estate agent are we going to hire and whose name's going on the electricity bill, etc. Friends, they are not on mission, and we don't want our nonprofits not being on mission. Now, some of them have heard or have had about bad experiences, and some of them are a little blown out of proportion, but a lot of them are true. And these bad experiences are keeping them stuck in the fear of being in real estate. And once again, we're not suggesting that any of them start doing their own real estate transactions, because it would just create more bad experiences. Some nonprofits will accept real estate, but on a very limited basis. So we want to encourage you to talk to community foundations, and we want you to know the majority of them are going to say, oh yeah, we accept real estate, we're all set. But if you ask them another question, awesome, how many pieces of real estate have you had in the last year or 3 years? Most of the time it's going to be zero. And if you ask them what are the qualifications, you're going to find out it needs to be mortgage free. It needs to be vacant. It needs to be within a 10-block radius of the church. In other words, they're just very limited on what they can take. Most nonprofits have it written right in their bylaws. We do not accept gifts of real estate, period, end of story. And ultimately, the moral of the story is it's just too risky and they won't do it. But the real reason, drum roll please, the The real reason that they're missing out on this funding is because they don't know about the third way, the win-win-win, risk-free way. We're going to talk about that in section 2. So we keep mentioning 99.9% won't. Well, what about those that do? Let's share some of the logos of some of the nonprofits around the country that actually do have a dedicated real estate team, that actually can accept real estate. Now, even those that do accept real estate, even they sometimes need help from our team. We have a story about that when the Salvation Army, which is one of the few nonprofits that does take real estate, they take in about 2,000 donations a year. And even they needed help from our team. But let's just look at these for a minute, because I know, I would hope that when you are a part of this information, you're going to start Googling how to donate real estate. Who takes real estate? What is a charitable gift of real estate? And when you start looking around, you're going to see all these logos. And friends, the donors that are on your nonprofit's donor list are Googling it too, especially this time of year. They deserve to know that this is a massive tax deduction. So let's take Cars for Kids as an example. Guess what? You can donate cars and you can donate real estate. It's Cars for Kids. So when a donor finds any one of these and they donate their real estate, they're all fabulous, wonderful nonprofits who deserve to get funded. Here's the problem. When that donor is getting their tax deduction, they are not, when they give to Cars for Kids is not going to cut a check to your nonprofit or send money to your church, your veterans group, your homeless shelter. Cars for Kids can't guarantee a full commission to realtors, referral fees, etc. So when we show these logos, it's to say it's happening. It's happening all around us. It's becoming more pervasive. Every month I do another Google search and I see more and more. So these are some of the nonprofits who have figured it out and are stepping up to do big things for their community. And this is why the Real Agents of Change, the certification, the champions, what we're doing today was created because there is a need to help the 99.9% of other nonprofits that are not on that list, that don't have a dedicated team, that don't have a way of benefiting from real estate. This was created because the donors deserve to choose who gets the legacy, and because, friends, we need to become proactive, not just sit around waiting for someone to maybe decide to give a piece of real estate to your real estate office in the next 10 years, but proactively find them. So indulge me for the next 3 or 4 minutes to share with you how we all got here today. How is it that charitable gifting of real estate's been around for 100 years, yet it hasn't been taught to realtors? And why is it being taught now for all of you to learn about? So this is an image of a woman who had moved across the country, didn't know anyone, had an alcohol problem, and had recently put the plug in the jug, was a single mother living in a mobile home. And of course, the best solution for all that was to get a real estate license. Now, when I had this image taken, I was about 2 years into my career. But one of the reasons that I got a real estate license was because I wanted to spend time with my daughter. I wanted to be at her field trips, which is what that last image is. I wanted to be able to take her with me to the office, to showings, to go and doing things in the community. So when I first got my real estate license, I was completely ignorant about how real estate worked, how fundraising worked. I just knew that it all needed to work for me. So as I continued on in my career, I first started with RE/MAX. I brought the Remax hot air balloon to several events. It's something that all Remax agents have the ability to do, but I've yet to meet one who's actually done it as well. But it was a great way to be seen and be heard and to bring the community together. The second photo here is at the Boys and Girls Club in Bedford, New Hampshire. We were bringing businesses together, face painting, karate, all these businesses that came together to meet and mingle and make money, making a difference. Cause marketing our businesses with a cause in mind. I was with Century 21. I did a TV show with them called The Real Estate Roadshow. And I show you all this to say, I wasn't just sitting around doing uptime. I was in the trenches. I was making lots of phone calls. I was calling expireds and for sale by owners and going to networking events every day. Believe me when I tell you, when I saw charitable gifting of real estate, I thought, holy cow, what a great way for realtors to actually have a niche that makes them stand out. And I was doing all this stuff. I was on HGTV. The first show I actually auditioned for, and then they introduced me to House Hunters, and I did that show. And this all led to the first big commission check that I had. I bought my dream car, 64.5 Mustang convertible, and that car led to me doing parades and car shows. And frankly, that car, whom we called Scoop, because she had a scoop in the hood, that car is what brings us here today. Because the very first car show, I was out handing out flyers willy-nilly, and we got 50 cars to show up. And every car had a $20 bill, and they wanted to register. We didn't have any way for them to register. We didn't know what we were doing, completely ignorant and green, just wanting to bring a bunch of people together and get some PR. But it dawned on us. 50 cars, 20 bucks a piece, that's $1,000. There's a lot of causes out there that could use $1,000. So we found an organization called the Live and Let Live Farm that rescued horses. And for the next 7 years, we were given the proceeds to that nonprofit and many others in the area. And here's what I learned. Even when people didn't care about real estate or Remax or Century 21, they loved that we were doing something for the horses, for the veterans, for the community. And so over time, I started teaching other people how to do it. Cause marketing your business with a cause in mind. This picture is so important to me. This woman, Karen, who was the president of the board of realtors at the time in that state, hired me personally to teach her how to leave her legacy before she left her office. She wanted to make sure that the community was better for her having been in it. And so we did this diaper drive. It was one of the many things we did together. These women were coming off opioids, and so we got all the realtors and financial advisors and mortgage companies and title companies and businesses in the area, and we raised up 8,000 diapers. This is a Botox doctor who hired me as well. We did drives to bring more people through her door. And Jacksonville Real Estate Investor Association, they wanted me to come down and speak. And I said, only if I can practice what I preach. We have to do social responsibility as part of the whole dog and pony show. And so they did. Those are all jackets and blankets and things that we gathered up. And I flew down and did a presentation for about 300 people that day. So I have had clients that have wanted to help Habitat for Humanity. Karen, the Board of Realtors president, we created Realtors for Recovery. It's all about addiction and helping the addiction opioid issue. I was in New England, and so Boston, very, very cold. We did coat drives, sock drives, you name a drive, and we've done it. We even had bra drives. I did 2 bra drives around October and Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We did events for animals. This was a poker run that helped veterans and addiction. And of course, this is a Hero Box, which we packed up boxes to send overseas for our enlisted folks. And I want to share all of this with you because, people like Jim Wooten have been around for 25 years, helping with charitable real estate and doing it their way. And when I first saw this, it was all of this real estate experience and the cause marketing campaigns, the networking, the putting events together, the bringing nonprofit and for-profit together that has led to what we're doing today. Yahoo Finance wrote an article about us back in November about how this is evolving. We had our book launch in Sarasota in June. And actually, it was this article in the Business Observer that had Goodwill and Easter Seals. Get up there. They had Goodwill and Easter Seals call us and say, hey, we have 200 smaller nonprofits that need to know about this because they're hurting. Their doors are closing. Can you teach them? And we said, absolutely. So when you see the pictures of us traveling around in the RV and teaching this and the CE course in Florida and the book that was created and the Legacy Listing Month coming up in April, it all comes from a foundation of knowing what realtors need, knowing that those heart-centered, generous realtors that are already sitting on fundraising committees and giving 10% of their commission, knowing what the nonprofits go through to get funded, that's why this was created. And that's why you're here, because I knew, I could feel you. I knew you wanted to help your community. And I knew somebody had to take a stand. And that somebody was me. And now that somebody is all of us coming together. So just to kind of wrap this all up, it was all that experience that brings us to the biggest win-win-win social responsibility campaign ever created. This is an example of a donation, Rhode Island. This money went to the Martin Luther King Community Center. This is one of our, so I think of myself as real agent of change number 1. Michael DeShavi is real agent of change number 2. He was the first person I called when I learned about this. I've known this man for 15 years in many different businesses, and he is so grateful to have a unique way to stand out in his marketplace. So friends, I want to open it up for any question, comment, concern. I'm going to play a case study video while we all take a potty break, and I'm actually going to put it on 1.5 times just to speed it up so we can think through it. Do any questions before I put on that video? All right, here we go. So I'm going to share screen. It is 11:58. We're going to come back at 12:05. So you can listen to this in the background while you take a potty break. And here we go. Let's listen to one from Jim Wu.
Wouldn't you like to make the world a better place? Wouldn't you like to make...
Jim Wooten and I are talking about tons of different stories around property that has been donated to benefit nonprofits. Jim, this is a fascinating story we're just chatting about. Tell us about it.
Okay, so I was contacted by a charity that needed to put this deal together. They had a country club that had been built at an original cost of $25 million. And over the years, the country club fell in hard times and went through a sheriff's sale. It sold to an entrepreneur for $3.5 million at the sheriff's sale. And after operating it for a few years, maybe 5 years, a charity proposed that they donated for their school. It was a school. And so it was a 501c3 school. And so they said, well, how do we do this? And what would be the ramifications? What would be the benefits? So I got an MAI appraiser to look at it. And he said, well, look, it cost $25 million to build this thing. And over the years, it's depreciated some, of course. But rather than use the income approach or whether to use the market approach, which how many country clubs are sold per year, right? Very few. So using the cost approach, using all the metrics, it was $9.5 million. And so they did it. I put together the paperwork for them, and we got it all done. He got a $9.5 million write-off. And with the tax savings alone, he had more tax savings than his original cost on the property. So plus he was able to make a tremendous difference. That's the thing. If you don't have donated intent, I think IRS, by the way, they won't honor this unless there's donated intent. And you have to say so. And you have to say so in writing before the closing. Now, it can be a letter. You can say, you know, the seller intends to make a charitable donation of the property at 123 Main Street to the buyer of 501c3. You can just do that in one sentence. But it's really probably better to put it right in the purchase contract. Put it right in the purchase contract. You don't want this thing to foul up just because you didn't declare donated intent. And so, of course, that was done here. So, yeah, I mean, there are more than one way to do this. I also want to say, I think I want to touch on the fact that the tax savings, every time you make a donation, that's one asset that's not going to go to your heirs, right? The kids are thinking about this. And you don't want them telling mom and dad, don't do this. That's something I'm supposed to get, right? So here's the thing. With the tax savings, oftentimes they can pay for a life insurance policy. They'll give the kids even more than the value of that asset. It's just something, a tool to have in the back of your head, you know, to get some life insurance. Go ahead.
Amen. I love that you bring that up a lot because it's one of the things that we even say for financial advisors. Hey, listen, if your client wants to get a couple $100,000 out of that property to buy life insurance policies for kids, well, that's even better for you, financial advisor. I'd like for you, Jim, also to speak on that property donor had paid $3.5 million, and now that it's being donated at an appraised value of $9.5 million. What are the key points? Like there's capital gains tax that they're avoiding. What are some of those tax benefits for a donor like that?
Yeah, well, that's a big one right there. Capital gains tax is avoided, and so that's fabulous. But also the tax savings from the charitable gift, they can write off 30% if it's an individual, or if it's an LLC. If it's an LLC, it's just fine. All the members can take their pro rata share up to 30% of their own adjusted gross income, line 22 on their 1040. They can write off 30% per year for up to 5 more years, total 6 years. So that's real money. If they otherwise have a tax to pay, that means they're going to have the tax savings. So for some people, I mean, I've even had people. I'll give you a ridiculous example. Is it's paying it. If you say the charity could pay $200,000 so they could buy a life insurance policy, even if they paid 80%, and the seller would be saying, well, look, 20% gift. If I get the deduction, my taxes are 30. You got the capital gains tax in a high bracket. You got the state income tax. We do in Ohio. I don't know. I think some states are even more. And you have the 3.5% Medicare tax. So you add all these up. It's a bunch of money. It'd be around 40%. So he's looking at that, and he says, look, if this thing I've been trying to sell it, if I was going to reduce the price 10% next month anyway. They might say, wow, what are we waiting for? Let's do this. There's no reason not to do it. But they do have to have donated intent. I would like to go to the donor with some literature about this, if it's the pet people or if it's veterans, if it's a church. I'll say, look, these are good people doing good work. They don't have horns. And I do say that, by the way. So, we want to make sure they do have donated intent. Wouldn't you like to make the world a better place? Wouldn't you like to make a difference in the lives of people? And say yes.
There you have it. Another story. Okay. It's 12:02. So we've got another 3 minutes. If there's any question, I'm happy to address it, or we can just wait until everybody gets back from their potty break. Anybody else want to introduce yourself? Coach Trey, I'm excited to see you here. I saw we had a little chat last night on the live event. Beautiful. Ralph,
Yes.
Sue, go ahead, Coach Trey. Say hello.
How you doing? I'm not on camera because I'm in the hospital waiting for a procedure, but it's being delayed, and I just want to come on and get more because I have some questions, but I want to see this. If I don't see it all, Sam said he'll give me the video, the recording. But I do have some questions. Nothing serious, but I was up half the night going over the videos because I'm in a situation where I'm able to connect with some historically Black colleges, HBCUs, some veterans organizations, and some nonprofits here in the Delaware Valley area.
Well, Coach Trey, we want to help the nonprofits you love, and we also want to help your pocketbook. So there are ways that you can get referral fees, if that's any question. Sometimes people ask about that, and we'll get into that a little bit more later, and or as you become a charitable real estate specialist and champion with us, we talk about a lot of that. So glad to have you here. And look, you know, it's a really simple concept when you really just kind of think it through. There are real estate all over the country that people are wanting to donate. And, you know, they call their church, they call their veterans group, they call their university. And 99% of the time they say, no, we don't take real estate. So we're simply providing the bridge. We close the gap between the nonprofits and the donors, and we help to bring the for-profit and the nonprofit together to leverage this as a social responsibility campaign so that businesses can be seen in a beautiful light of giving and generosity. So glad you're here. Just hang tight, and hopefully your question will get answered. It is 12:05, and we want to stay on point. So I'm just going to jump into the next section. The next few sections are a little bit shorter than the first. Sue says she has another Zoom to get on. She's a realtor in St. Louis. Sue, glad to have you. A lot of people that have to jump off midstream will come back to the next one, and we can always get you the recording, etc. So just reach out to us and let us know how we can support you. All right, here we go. Let's get into about how and into the next part. Okay. Section 2, benefits and strategies, and third way, the win-win-win way that you came to learn about. So remember, we talked about how donors can sell their property, just good old-fashioned traditional, go sell your real estate and give some of the proceeds to the nonprofit world. We talked about how that's the worst way. It is the least beneficial way for everyone involved. The second way is if the donor gives that real estate directly to the nonprofit that they're wanting to benefit. But the fact is, 99.9% of the time, it's just a flat out no. The nonprofits won't take the real estate. And even if they did, it would be months of board meetings and trying to figure out. It becomes painful for the donor. It's time consuming for the nonprofit. And ultimately, it is the hardest way. So the third way is the real agents of change have created a team of experts that remove all the risk, all the liability, and has no money out of pocket up front. So there's a third party, specialized nonprofit, we call them. They are a 501c3. Now there's a handful that we've actually met over the last few years, but there's one specific one that we talk about the most because they are the best in the industry. They do these transactions for Fidelity Charitables, Boys and Girls Club, Habitat for Humanity. They've done many deals over the last 20 years. And this specialized nonprofit, so let's go back to our story. Sam has a veterans group in California, and there is a donor who has a condo in Florida. It's $1 million appraisal, $200,000 mortgage. Donor wants $200,000 in their pocket. This is called a bargain sale. You're going to learn about that as we move forward. So, specialized nonprofit takes title to that condo, pays off the mortgage, gives the donor the $200,000. The donor is off the title in less than 30 days, has all their tax benefits. They don't have to go through the hassle. That's why when people say, is this kind of like a 1031 tax exchange? Well, kind of, in that they don't pay capital gains, but nothing like that in that they are done in less than 30 days. So now that the specialized nonprofit has title to this condo in Florida, a realtor in Florida is hired at a full commission to list and liquidate that property so that when it is sold and all the expenses are recouped, approximately 98% of the proceeds are going to that veterans group in California. This is risk-free for that veterans group in California. It's risk-free for any nonprofit. There is no money out of pocket to handle the transaction. I have met groups like this that get paid something up front. This one, the ones that we work with, do not. There's capital available to enhance the value of the property. Hey, look, we just had 2 pretty intense storms in Florida. What if there was hurricane damage? What if, the bathroom and the kitchen need to be gutted and redone? This organization can handle that. Bargain sale. So there's 2 different things here. A donation of real estate that is completely 100% donated. Here's the keys. Here's the deed. Thanks for the tax deduction. Bye-bye. That's a donation. Or, hey, there's a mortgage to be paid off. If money needs to exchange hands, it's called a bargain sale. And if you think, and for a year, I was hearing them talk about bargain sales, and it sounded to me like it was a bargain basement thing. Like, that's so weird. What is a bargain sale? And I finally put 2 and 2 together. Oh, the specialized nonprofit is buying that $1 million condo for $400,000. It is a bargain sale to the nonprofit that is actually purchasing. That's why they call it a bargain sale. Now, in this scenario, the donor receives all the tax benefits immediately. Doesn't take months and months to figure it out. It's immediate, less than 30 days. The nonprofit world receives the maximum donations. The donor receives the maximum tax benefits. 100% of the 1.5 million nonprofits are eligible. This is the win-win-win. And we hear people say all the time, sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? And what we want to say is, how bad does something really have to be for people to believe that it's true? Why is it so hard for people to understand, oh, okay, there really are good people in the world who want to donate real estate. There really are experts who have philanthropic intent and will help, get paid to help, but give the lion's share to the nonprofit world. It's happening every day. So this is what you're here to learn about today. And we're going to continue to delve deeper into the examples. So key stakeholders and how all of this works. There is the donor. And the donor can be private individuals or corporations. And believe it or not, 70+% of all money donated comes from good old fashioned individuals, not corporations. So there's the donors, there are the advisors. So when we say advisor, think of it as anyone whose profession gives them the ability to advise people who own real estate. Could be a realtor, could be a wealth manager, could be a CPA, could be an insurance broker, anyone that is advising property owners and the nonprofits themselves. So nonprofits can be a donor advised fund, which we're going to talk about a couple of sections from now, public charities, that sort of thing. So I think of this as the triangle of trust, the 3 stakeholders as you see here. All these people are needed to make these donations happen. Now, the donors are a yes. A yes to what? They are a yes to donating real estate. Let's be real clear. We are not convincing people to donate real estate. We are not selling them out on the idea. We are not badgering them to donate real estate. We're simply informing and educating them and giving them their options and opportunities. And they are a yes. The right ones are yes. They want to donate real estate. The advisory community are a yes, meaning those financial advisors who, by the way, bring 65% of these deals to the table, they are a yes. They want to help their clients be more philanthropic, and frankly, they want to earn more money on the assets under management. The realtors, not all realtors are right for this, but the ones that are seasoned and mature and want to do good things in the community. They're already given 10% of their commission and doing all these things, sitting on the fundraising committees. They are a yes. They want to help people donate real estate. Believe it or not, it is the nonprofits themselves that are the no to real estate. For all the reasons we've been talking about, it's just too complex. It's really, really risky. They don't have the money to pay off mortgages or the holding costs. They don't have the experience. It brings them down the road of mission drift. They don't know what they're doing with it. it is just such a bad experience for them, whether they've heard of bad experiences or they're just imagining what would happen. They just won't do it. And it is the nonprofits that have been blocked by this real estate inability to take on the real estate. So when we ask nonprofits, hey, do you take real estate? And they say things like, well, we took a gift of real estate once, we'll never do that again. As a matter of fact, there's a Boys and Girls Club right here in Florida that did take a golf course about 10 years ago. And I want to say they got about $10 million for it. They've been riding on that funding for a long time, but they will even tell you they'll never do it again. It was so time consuming. Or they'll say things like, well, yeah, we do accept real estate. Remember, the community foundations, a lot of them will, but only on a limited basis when the board takes the time to approve, and only if there's no money involved for cash payments. So ultimately, they are a no to most offers. So the team that we have includes this specialized nonprofit that we've mentioned. And their mission is to accept real estate of any kind from anywhere, taking on all financial responsibility, any environmental risk. Cammy, what if it's contaminated? Doesn't matter to you or me. If they're willing to take it on and clean it up, that's their thing. So they take on all of these risks and they convert the asset into cash that can then be granted to the nonprofits that the donor designates that they want to have them. Friends, it's that simple. So the ROC team of experts, specialized nonprofit that exclusively accepts gifts of real estate. This is all they do. They have a 501c3 designation from the government. The government knows exactly what they're doing. They gave them a 501c3 designation to do this. They provide the donor with the tax benefits. So a little bit later, we're going to get into some paperwork and you're going to learn about some of the boring, in the weeds kind of stuff about the tax documents. But the good news is you and I and the nonprofits who receive the money don't need to understand all of it. We have a favorite saying here: do what you do best, refer the rest. And that's what we do when it comes to all that stuff. They absorb the title, the financial risks. There's always financial risks, even for the property that is free and clear. What if it's contaminated? What if a hurricane comes through and damages it? It's just so risky. They work with the brokerage community to sell the real estate, meaning whoever the real estate community is in that marketplace, they will hire a realtor at a full commission, specifically when it's you, a real agent of change who brought the deal to the table. It's your listing. There is no competition. There is no interview. You're doing it, assuming that you're a good realtor, obviously, and have integrity and are easy to work with. And they grant to the other nonprofits the bulk of the cash proceeds. Ultimately, when the expenses are covered, they keep, and they don't like the word fee. They don't like percentages. They are a nonprofit. They keep a piece of the donation, and it's typically less than 2% at this point. So the awakening, non-cash versus cash gifts. This quote, this statistic is from Dr. Russell James, who wrote the foreword for our book. He and his team have read 1 million tax returns from 200,000 nonprofits over a 5-year period, and they have proven that when nonprofits start to benefit from non-cash assets, they grow their endowments at 6 times the rate of those who only take cash. It is what it is. Donors give 3 to 7 times more. So when you hear us talk about your own donor list can give you 6 times what you're already receiving. Jackie Franey from the Nature Conservancy has been famous for saying this for many, many years. because we are shifting from cash, 3%, to wealth. 43% of wealth is held in real estate. That's why people can give more. Now, no additional donors are needed. We really beat that up because it's so important. Friends, when the nonprofit says, where do we find this unicorn of a property donor? And they want to go and do some funnel or campaign or Facebook ad or something. Here's the truth. In their donor list are donors that would donate real estate, and they've never had this conversation. So how would they possibly know? But it's truth. It's what's happening every day. Now, collaboration. Do what you do best and refer the rest. So the nonprofits, those 1.5 million nonprofits out there, what do they do best? They strengthen their donors' interests. They go out and build relationships in the community. They promote their cause so that people know who they are and what they're all about. They are cultivating that emotional connection. They're veterans and they love veterans and they want to find veterans who want to help veterans. They're animal lovers. They're education people who are helping in the university systems. In other words, they are finding like-minded people who want to be a part of their solution. They share the benefits of non-cash gifts. Remember my story, the church we were at just yesterday or Sunday, on the slide that came up on the screen. You can give cash. You can give a check. You can go to our website. You can text. And all four of those ways, we're talking about cash. And all they have to do is add on that slide, and you can help us spread the word that we benefit from real estate. Just got to share the benefits of it and start asking for these gifts of real estate, not so that they start accepting real estate, but so that they let people know they have a real estate team that can process it very easily with no risk. Now, the specialized nonprofit, what do they do best? They accept real estate, they fix it if it needs to be fixed, they sell it, and they grant the proceeds. They intervene. They step in and they answer the donors' questions. They are the ones that make this so easy. They provide the resources that all gifts of real estate require. They solve the complexity. My God, some of these donations can be so complex. It's no wonder that nonprofits don't want to deal with real estate. Even the ones that are free and clear and in the same town can have their own inherent issues. And they grant the bulk of the net proceeds to the other nonprofits. It's really that simple. So specialized nonprofit helps when there is a donation of real estate at the table. But how do we get that donation of real estate to the table? That's who the Rock is, the real agents of change. We help with the systems and the scripts and support, the social media, the strategies. Want to make sure that you get your interview done with me, that we can help put out on social media, the press releases, etc. Now, these are all images and logos of nonprofits who have benefited from gifts of real estate the third way, the win-win-win way. Now, Habitat for Humanity as an example. There are 1,700 habitats in this country. And even though one of them or two of them or 10 of them have benefited from real estate in this way, it doesn't mean that your local habitat has a clue how this works. That's where you come in. That's where we come in. We need to educate the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. All of these nonprofits don't necessarily talk to their sister other branches. It's our job to do that. Now, Fidelity Charitables is the largest. 1.5 million nonprofits, a big pile of them. And the higher you go in the pile, the more money they bring in, the more successful they are. And Fidelity Charitables is the cherry right on top. And even Fidelity Charitables does not want to handle its own real estate. Even they use our team. Universities. public radio, public TV. There's actually a campaign happening right now, my dear friends. There are 3,000 radio and TV, public radio, public TV, that are part of a campaign with another organization. And almost on a daily basis, I see something come out on the internet about another radio station that is accepting gifts of real estate through this other organization. And the point is your donors are seeing those ads. We need to let them know that you can benefit from real estate too. Now, this is our favorite recent case study. This is about Berkeley Humane Society, and here is the story. December 10th, last year, property owner has 13 lots. He calls the team, it's a Sunday. Hey, I need a tax deduction this year. Got 21 days left in this year. I've got real estate. Can you make it happen? Now, see, if he had called any random Boys and Girls Club, Humane Society, church, etc., even if they would take real estate, they wouldn't have been able to get this done in such a short period of time. But the team that we leverage, this is all they do from morning to night, is handle these kinds of deals. So they said, yes, we can. We can help you with that. So he donated the land, specialized nonprofit, has possession of the land, and the donor is off the title and gets his tax deduction in December last year. Now, specialized nonprofit puts the land on the market to sell. So they call Berkeley Humane and they say, you've just had a gift of real estate. You don't even know it, which is why we're calling you. When this land sells in the next 60 days or so, you're going to have about $400,000. Most nonprofits aren't expecting that kind of windfall, so we want you to know so you can be prepared. And Berkeley says, what? We're getting how much from who? Can we do that again? And they said yes. So here's what happened. In April, this land closed and Berkeley received over $400,000 as a donation. Berkeley said to their donors, we don't know how this works, but it works. We just learned, been happening for 100 years. This guy has donated some real estate. When it sells, we're getting 400,000. We were told to just ask, hey, anybody else need a tax deduction? Does anybody else want to donate real estate? And a woman said, yes. My mother left me a property in Carmel, California. It's in a 55 and older community. I'm never going to live there. I don't need it. I'm financially secure. I want to donate it to you. So in August, that property closed. $646,000. Friends, this is how it works. Tell people. 2 donations, 6-month period, Berkeley Humane, $1,052,000 and some change. And if you go to their website, which we can share later on, they now have a really fancy, you click over there and about real estate, and they got all kinds of widgets, and you can put in, my property is worth this amount. Here's what I paid for it. Here's my tax basis. And it'll calculate and tell you how much you can save on capital gains. But friends, the moral of the story is they did not have that fancy page until they had this kind of money come in, and then they were able to invest to do something a little more fancy. So why the specialized nonprofit was created is because real estate underperforms. They noticed 20 years ago, cash is people have less than 3% of their wealth. Less than 3% of our wealth is held in cash. But 43% of the average American's wealth is held in real estate. But all of them were sitting on boards of nonprofits, running nonprofits, handling big real estate transactions, etc. And they also knew that 90% of what nonprofits bring in comes from cash. So 90% comes from the 3% of cash, and only 2% of what nonprofits bring in is coming from the 43% of wealth. So they actually, this specific nonprofit that I learned about this with in the very beginning, they interviewed, they flew around the country, they went and talked to 1,000 nonprofits and found out that the reason that these nonprofits are not benefiting from the 43% of wealth is because of all the reasons we just told you. It's scary, it's risky, they have it written in their bylaws that they can't take real estate, etc. So even though $9 billion is coming in from real estate, it is a very small amount compared to what it could be. So the opportunity here is to move the needle from 2% that nonprofits bring in from real estate to 6.5%. And that shift will add 20 billion with a B more a year, every year. 29 billion a year will come to nonprofits because of gifts of real estate when people know it is an option. And that is why the Real Agency Change was created. That is why you're here today. And because the only way to give that cash to the nonprofit world from real estate is to sell it, that's why we started teaching this to realtors. And then what we learned after a year of really focusing on realtors was that financial advisors and community leaders and visionaries and fundraisers themselves want to come learn about this. Gene Frederick is the granddaddy of EXP, one of the fastest growing real estate companies in the world. And I sat with him at his house in Puerto Rico a little over a year ago, and he was blown away. Cammie, as you explained to me through your program, baby boomers like me can donate in a way they didn't know how. This is a game changer. So let's see if anyone has a question. I'm gonna open this up, and I'm going to set up another video that we can watch, a really fast one, because I want to keep us on track. Any questions, anybody?
I think Coach Trey has his hands up, Cammie.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I have a just correct me if I'm wrong. What you're saying is the nonprofit just has to, I'm going to use sports terms. They just have to draft the player, and The Rock has the ability to coach up the player, set the player up, and turn this rookie into an all-star in 60 to 90 days. And all I'm doing is pointing out the players and saying, listen, go over here.
Amen. Yes. So now in your example there, if we're coaching up players, that might mean that maybe the nonprofit is finding realtors and financial advisors and CPAs and attorneys and other nonprofits to get coached up and to spread the word. The other thing that you're doing, actually, Coach Trey, is promoting the game so that people want to come watch the game. And I would say in that scenario, those are the donors. In other words,
Yes.
The donors don't need to be coached up. The donors just need to know that it's an option. And so when they come to the table, we just make it really super easy for them to be a part of the game without having any stress or headache, and they can be off the title in less than 30 days. So it just makes it really easy for them. So yes, as you help us to spread the word, and you know, just don't get too hung up in trying to understand everything. Alan has a great analogy. on your nonprofit's website, just like any nonprofit. I cannot imagine there is a nonprofit that has a website that you cannot click a donate now button. And when you click on the donate button, you can put in your Visa, your MasterCard, your American Express. You can donate through a credit card processing. And the nonprofit doesn't know how to process a credit card. The nonprofit doesn't know what your credit score is or how much available you have on your limit, or if you're even going into debt by giving them money. They don't know. You just click on the button and you donate money, and the credit card processing puts money in your account in 2 days. It's the same thing here from the perspective that the nonprofit doesn't need to understand what the forms are for the IRS. They don't need to understand how much equity is needed or where the property is, or is it contaminated, or what are we going to do with those water rights for this lakefront property, right? They just need to introduce us. We take it from there. And just like the credit card processing, you have real estate processing, and you get the money when the real estate has been liquidated.
Got you. Okay, this is similar to me coaching, because I coached youth football, but I was a basketball player. So I didn't know the football terminology, so I just put former football players around me to coach. And if we won, they get the accolades. And if we lost, it's my fault. Okay, all right. All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here. Anybody else have? Okay, I see Deborah has. Okay, hi, Deborah.
Hi, how are you?
Fabulous.
Good, thank you. Do we have to be CCRES certified to do this? Can we just refer? I mean, is it a matter of referring? How do we do this? How do we start?
No, you don't have to be a CCRES. Let me ask you this question though, Deborah. Are you a realtor? Are you a nonprofit?
Yes.
What's your?
Yes, no, I'm a realtor.
Okay, so you're a realtor, and what turns you on about this? What do you like about the whole process?
Everything that you just described. and I'm very much clued into several nonprofits myself. So I know this is something that will be a tremendous asset, win-win for them. I just don't know how to start. I mean, I need your presentation so that I can show my nonprofits.
Sure.
And set up. I mean, how did Berkeley set up this widget? Because I'd like that widget put on this website for one particular community. I want to know how that's available, what it'll cost.
So we are providing marketing. We have a marketing guru who's a friend of mine who's putting together some of those kind of widgets in the background. But remember, Berkeley didn't spend any money putting together a fancy widget page. They simply told their donors, hey, we don't know how this works, but we can benefit from real estate. If you have any, we'll introduce you to our real estate team. $1,052,000 later, they invested on that page. So as much as people can invest and put together a page and all that stuff, what we want you to know is it's free to just talk to people, and especially this time of year. So here's a little spoiler alert for you, Deborah. Normally becoming a CCRES is $400, but we're going to show you at the end of the presentation how you can do it for $97. So it would be foolish to not invest $97 to get the designation and put yourself on the map that we're going to show you in a little bit so that people can find you. So just hang with us, and we're by the end of all this, you'll understand how all of that works. And just like anything else, you get excited and you want to go talk to people, but just kind of hold on, and we'll teach you what to say to them. Because here's what we know for a fact. The nonprofits that you know and love don't know how this works. I don't care if they have 50 years experience. I don't care if they've been sitting on boards for the last 150 years collectively. They don't know how this works. So we want to make sure that you've got the right language before you step into a conversation and they say things like, oh, we tried real estate. It's too confusing. It's too complicated. We don't have the money. We don't have the time. We don't have the manpower. They don't need any of that, but they just don't know that yet. So let us coach you up. Just like Coach Trey said, let us coach you up before we put you out on the field, because it'll be a lot easier when you know what to say. Coach Trey, I see your hand up again.
Yes, piggybacking on the lady's question. I'm not a real estate agent like we talked about last night, but I do know some. And how do I work? How do I build a team? How do I bring this into my peace movement?
So you too can be a CCRES and have the ability to be on the map with us. When we show the map in a little bit, we have a map of the United States. And as you hover over the map in any state, you can find the realtors, financial advisors, the nonprofits, and any and all people that are showing up as a charitable real estate specialist. And the reason you want to be on the map is the realtors are looking. You could ask Sam Silver. He could get on a soapbox about this for an hour, but I'm going to hold you on that just for now, Sam. But the realtors are looking for nonprofits that are visionary, open-minded, wanting to partner and play and promote and get together and bring these deals to the table. So when you show up on that map, not only can donors find you, but realtors can find you, other nonprofits can find you. So our goal is to have 1,000 people on that map over the next, I'd like to have it done by the end of the year, 1,000 people. And that's why we've made it so ridiculously cheap at $97, so we can just get a bunch of people on the map so we can all play together on the field of life.
Yes. Yeah, I know there's 3 in Cherry Hill on this side. I looked at the map last night.
Nice, nice. Okay, Alan has put the interactive map up. I'm going to keep this real simple. I'm not going to play a video for now. It is 12:42. I'm actually just going to come back at 12:45. Let's take a 3-minute little bio break and come back, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of need to learn how this works. So we'll be right back in 3 minutes. We have 1 minute until we get started up again. Just want to throw out some announcements for everyone. Want to remind you again that tonight at 7 p.m., Alan, if you want to put the Silveris/Alan or Cami in there, Alan's going to be going over a slideshow that explains how we're helping nonprofits with different kinds of real estate over in this other group that we are part of with Silveris. Also want to let you all know that tomorrow night, Wednesday, tomorrow night, because we do a lot in LinkedIn, I'm doing a lot of LinkedIn Live, a lot of presentations for different perspectives. So as you're listening to today, if there is a nonprofit that you know needs this information, if there's a realtor that needs this information, and or CPAs, tax accountants, financial advisors, especially this time of year, and we'll put all this in the chat, and I'll make sure, Grace, my assistant, I don't see her on here right now, but just make sure that in the chat we have your email address and your phone number so that you get all of these announcements. Because tomorrow night, 5 p.m., I'm doing a live nonprofit overview, how they can 6 times their donations from the donors they already have. At 6 p.m., this is all Eastern time, I'm doing one for realtors. I specifically refer to this one as Women in Florida Realtors, just have fun with that, but it's any realtors can learn about this. And at 7 p.m., so one after another, at 7 p.m., I'm doing one focused on CPAs, tax people, talking about the tax deduction that these folks can give their clients before the end of the year, because they think real estate, oh, that's going to take 60, 90 days, 6 months to close. I'll never get a tax deduction from real estate this late in the game. But friends, they don't know how this works. It's our job. It's my moral obligation. It's my moral obligation to let people know, yes, you can. All the way up until December 20th, you could bring a property to the table and get that tax deduction. So those are just a few things I want to let you know about. And now, I'm going to get back into the presentation. Thank you so much for your interaction and your desire to learn this. There's nothing we'd rather be doing than teaching this information. So super excited that you're all here. All right. Slideshow, section 3. Section 3. Why is this a win-win-win? Why? What are the benefits to the donors, property owners, nonprofits, advisors, specifically to the donors? Now, some of this is going to get a little redundant, but it is really important that everyone involved, all the stakeholders, know why it benefits everyone. So first of all, they do avoid that capital gains tax on what they donate. So in our example of the $1 million condo, if they're getting $400,000 to pay off mortgages and get cash back in their pocket, obviously they're going to pay tax on that money. But anything that they donate is free of capital gains. They qualify for the tax deduction against their adjusted gross income based on the appraisal. So if a donor goes and sells their property and then gives proceeds to the nonprofit world, they can only write off what they donate to the nonprofit world. But when they donate first, now the commissions and things like that can actually be written off. So it's super important. This preserves liquid assets to protect lifestyle. Here's what that means. When a nonprofit is looking for cash, they are competing with other things that that donor wants. The donor has to decide, do I want to donate $100 to this group that I love, or do I want to take my wife out to dinner tonight? Some people are making that decision. That's the toss-up. Some people are saying, do I want to give $1,000 to the church, or do I want to buy my child Christmas presents this year? It's a lifestyle choice. When people are asking for cash, they're competing with the trip to Orlando and all those other things. So when they can give from their wealth bucket, they're not competing with all of that. This eliminates that complex asset from an estate. So people will say all the time, well, John and Mary have this real estate, and you're saying that they could donate it to nonprofit, but what about their kids? Don't they want to leave it to little Billy and little Alice? Well, not if little Billy and little Alice don't know what to do with a warehouse or a strip mall or even a second home in a 55 and older community. This gives them the ability to eliminate that problem. This simplifies asset transfer to the next generation. So now little Billy and little Alice, if that property has been liquidated and it's put into a donor advised fund, which we're going to talk about next, it can very easily be left to those children to fulfill their philanthropic needs for the rest of their life. Believe it or not, convenience is a major factor. People who donate real estate are sometimes in a place in their life where they just don't want to deal with it. So I alluded earlier to the story of Linda. So imagine a woman donating $25 a year for 32 years to a nonprofit. We'd never think, oh boy, 25 bucks a year, boy, she's going to give us real estate. But she had a cabin in the Poconos, and she donated this real estate. And when I talked to the woman who worked at that nonprofit, the fundraiser, she told me that Linda donated that cabin because it was convenient. She wanted to just give it and not have to deal with fixing it up and hiring a realtor and all the complications. Donors can also receive partial cash payment. You've heard us talk about the bargain sale. So whether they need to pay off a mortgage, pay off credit cards, get the initial investment back in their pocket, buy life insurance policies for the kids. Maybe their CPA says, well, you can donate $1 million, but based on your tax situation, you'll never be able to write that much off in the next 6 years, but you could write off $100,000 a year for the next 6 years. So in other words, that person could get the $400,000 and only write off the $600,000, tailors their gift down. Replacement life insurance is a big deal for a lot of people. So whatever they want to pull that money out for, the moral of the story is, no, they don't have to donate the full value of the property. Yes, they can get some cash out of it. They can even divvy it up and give some of it to this nonprofit, some of it to that nonprofit, or put all of it in a donor advised fund, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now, you might be thinking, okay, I've never heard of this before, but it's kind of making sense. I'm impressed. They do get these benefits, but seriously, who would possibly donate their property? Well, that's when we share even more stories. Like this couple who just in October last year, $129 million from their real estate portfolio. Who would donate real estate? Friends, the people who love your community, the people who need tax benefits, the people who want to simplify their estate. Friends, they're all around you. And the real answer to that is, who would donate? Well, maybe the people that you'd like to have in your phone, maybe the people that you'd like to be associated with for many, many reasons. That's who would. And ultimately, 80% do it the way that we do it. Now, if somebody's just Googling online how to get a tax benefit, that's them. But the way that we do it, 80% do it for altruistic reasons. 20% do it for the tax benefits. I mean, ultimately, 100% of them get the tax benefits, but that's usually not the focus. Just remember, it's happening. $9 billion a year. The only question is, are you part of it? Now, either way, here's what you need to know. We don't sell people on this. We don't convince them. We're not selling you on it. We don't want to convince anyone that it's a good idea to show up as socially responsible in their marketplace. We don't want to have to convince a real estate agent that there's 500 nonprofits in their marketplace that would benefit from learning about this. We just want to educate and inform and let people know what their options are. So what you need to know about the donors, they want to do it. They are grateful that you gave them the option, and they are eager to learn more, and they will introduce you to other people just like them that need to know about this. The Villages here in Florida, we're going to be heading there sometime in December, January to do some presentations, because there's 40,000 people that come from all over the country, come there to their second home, and they got property everywhere. And when they learn about this, imagine they have friends back in Detroit, in Maryland, in Texas, that will be eager to know about it as well. Now, where do you find these donors? Well, you already know them. You just want to expand your mind into abundance and not scarcity. Cami, I don't know anybody that would donate real estate. How would you possibly know? Have you ever asked them? Have you ever asked the people you know? And they come from the donor list for the nonprofits. They come from the financial advisors client list. They come from the realtors list. They are human beings just like you and me who want to leave legacy. Now, here are the benefits to the nonprofits themselves. These are just some examples of different categories of nonprofits, just as an example. Deborah is one of our real agents of change in New Jersey. She actually came to this class in January. That same night, she was watching the 700 Club and saw a pastor who needed to know this information, immediately got on the phone with him, three-wayed me on. This is opening doors for her that she just wasn't aware could be opened in real estate. So nonprofits, they receive the benefits of the gift of real estate, but avoid risk and liability. Friends, they don't know. They don't know that they can do this. This is our job to let them know. They can embrace their donors' best interests, allowing gifts that they want to give of appreciated assets. Instead of having the handout for cash like every other nonprofit and limiting themselves to the 3% of cash, what about that? What about the 43% of wealth? This strengthens their donor relationships by tapping into those wealth buckets. That fundraiser at the nonprofit that Linda donated that cabin to, she told me that Linda, who used to give $25 a year, actually now gives $500 cash a year since she donated that real estate. It changes the relationship. It changes their commitment. This can grow their endowments at 6 times the rate of those who only accept cash. They can receive 3 to 7 times more from the existing donors they already have. Friends, the average donation from real estate, $550 to $600,000. Actually, by the end of the year, the average will be $1 million because there's 32 donations done by the team at an average of $1 million a donation. It's happening from those same donors. And the nonprofits can expand their major gifts without going out and finding new donors. They can expand it from the donors they already have. Now, benefits to the advisors, keeping in mind the advisors are anyone who donate or who advises people who have real estate. The real estate brokers specifically can elevate themselves. Look, there's 2 million realtors. There is never a time, even now for me, I still have my real estate license. I haven't practiced in years, but I can't remember a time that I walked into a room or logged into a Zoom where I was the only realtor. And I think all realtors would agree, they're everywhere. And when you can become an advisor that helps people give smarter, I promise you, that is a unique sales proposition. You can switch focus to a seller that's not emotionally attached. This is kind of like REO property or relocation properties in that instead of dealing directly with John and Mary Smith, you're now working with the specialized nonprofit who already guarantees you a full commission. They already understand real estate. They just want to give you what you're worth to make this happen. There's no 14 kids telling you how to market the property. Now, the financial advisors themselves, when we show them, see, 65% of these donations come through financial advisors because they've got hundreds, thousands of clients that they know to be philanthropic, that they know to need a tax deduction. And they know that a donation of real estate is a good tax deduction and a good way to be philanthropic. Here's what they don't know. They don't know a nonprofit that will liquidate the hard asset for them. That's where we step in. They can preserve the next generation of clients. So John and Mary Smith have multiple properties around the country, hundreds of millions of dollars in assets. And when they can liquidate that and put it into a donor advised fund, which we're getting into next, it's really easy for little Belly and little Alice to stay with that financial advisor who's already got it all tied up and clean and in an easy package. All of the advisors can become CCRES, all of the advisors, all of the nonprofits, anyone who wants to show up as socially responsible. Anyone who wants to double, triple their profitability from purpose. You don't have to be a realtor. You just have to be heart-centered and want to make money making a difference. This is for people who want to become proactive. So when people say, well, I've never had anybody ask me about this. If I ever hear of it, I'll call you. Those are people that are waiting to react if the phone never rings. React if the donor ever figures this out on their own and gives them a call. What we're saying is become proactive. Educate people. Find the donations. Don't wait for them to find you. Strengthen relationships with those existing clients. Gain access to those high net worth individuals. These are all the reasons why this is such a benefit to the for-profit world in general. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and jump into section 4. This is about the financial advisors specifically in the donor advised fund. Please don't take this time to start searching your phone or go and look up donations on our page. This is important because 65% of these donations come from financial advisors, and their favorite nonprofit is called a donor advised fund. And friends, I was in this for a year before I really wrapped my head around what a donor advised fund is. So let me spare you of that and just go ahead and learn it now. Because this is really, and for the nonprofits out there, you might be thinking, well, wait a minute, I want the donor to give all of the donation to me and my nonprofit. I don't want to learn about how they can put it in this donor advised fund thing. But let's expand our mind, because the financial advisors that you can be talking to, their clients already have hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in the DAFs, in the donor advised fund. They could have their donors cut you a check later on today for $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1 million. So let's just see that there's a lot of ways to learn from this information. So the donor advised fund is a charitable investment fund regulated by public charity. It is funded by the donor. So when you think about it, when you break it down, it is a fund that is advised by the donor. The donor sets up this fund. It is administered by a qualified sponsor. We'll talk about those in a minute. Fidelity Charitables, Schwab, Vanguard, etc. Is directed by the donor, and that the donor can grant money to any nonprofit of any amount at any time. And it's an alternative to a private foundation, which is just much more complicated and requires a lot more money to get started. It entitles the donor to a tax deduction, and the fund grows tax-free, grants made tax-free. So if the donor has this piece of real estate, let's say Sam's Veteran Group out in California, and that donor's got that condo in Florida, and there's going to be $550,000 in proceeds. And they're not really sure if they want to give it all to the Veteran Group. They need a tax deduction now. So if they put all that money in a donor advised fund, they got their tax deduction, that money can grow in an interest bearing account, and they could give $50,000 of it a year to that Veteran Group or to any nonprofit. The donor can make periodic contributions into the donor advised fund and pull out of to give to any nonprofit of any size at any time. It's their fund. They advise it. So the advantages to a financial advisor: the direction of the charitable account can include or be passed to others. So we've talked about this a little bit. You've got your older couple. They are liquidating their assets, putting it in a donor advised fund that can be left to the children, to the next generation. This way, the financial advisor, this is about business development or business retention. They can retain that next generation. They are often allowed to earn money. So, Cammie, why would a financial advisor want to learn about this? Because real estate is a hard asset that financial advisors don't make any money on. They can't get paid to manage your real estate. What they can get paid for is to manage your assets under management. So when we show them how we can liquidate that hard asset and put it over here in a fund that they can manage, that's very attractive to them. Contributing real estate to a donor advised fund converts the hard asset to assets under management on which they can earn fees. Now, these are some of the popular ones. You've heard us talk about Fidelity Charitables. So, side note, star, asterisk, the reason Fidelity Charitables is the largest nonprofit in America is because they house donor advised funds, $13 billion of donor advised funds. This is super important. Schwab, National Philanthropic Trust. These are some names that maybe you've heard and weren't really quite sure what they do. And of course they do many different things, but Vanguard, for example, there are 3 deals right now in the pipeline from Vanguard. One of them was a hotel in the path of Hurricane Ian that got a lot of damage and it's still kind of up in the air. But these are the donor advised funds. And friends, even they don't want to do their own real estate. They leverage the same team that we do, that I do, that you do. So these teams have been vetted by these types of organizations. Now, this is another example of a donation of real estate May this year, $7.5 million. As you can see, this is not a dilapidated property. It's not property that people can't get rid of. It is property that someone has loved and maintained and taken beautiful care of, and they want to help the nonprofit world. That's why they donate them. Now, before we get into section 5, I just want to stop, see if there's any questions, concerns, hallucinations. What's going on out there? Go ahead, Coach Trey.
Yes. So if I'm hearing you correctly, part of the players pool are financial advisors, CPAs that I can partner with and to introduce them to the real agents of change. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and tomorrow night at 7 p.m., I'm going to be doing a presentation specifically talking to those folks from the perspective of, yes, your client can get a last-minute tax deduction in the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars from real estate. So if you have people, any of you, who's that financial advisor you know? Who's the financial advisory company? You can invite them to sit in on that, or you can have a 3-way call with me. But we want to educate them as to how this works. Because once again, they know that donating real estate is a tax deduction. Any CPA, tax accountant would know that that is a viable tax deduction. Here's what they don't know. They don't know a nonprofit that will accept real estate. So they're not all of them aren't advising their client, hey, Bill, you know, you've got that 3-family in Boston. You paid $50,000 for it 30 years ago. It's now worth $3 million. You'd get killed in capital gains tax and all this other stuff. You know, why don't you donate it, Bill? They're not saying that because they don't know a nonprofit that will take it. So we step in as the solution.
Got you. So now, as having a nonprofit, am I eligible to all the nonprofits, all the different real estate? They don't have to come to my nonprofit, correct?
Oh, they don't have to. It could go to any of the 1.5 million nonprofits out there. And actually, Coach Trey, we are really expanding our collaboration with community foundations. So you would be well advised to start to communicate with community foundations in your marketplace, because a community foundation, as I have just been learning, they are also donor advised funds, but they have even more choices. So if the donor is looking for nonprofits that are sports related, but they don't know how to vet them, they don't know which ones would help kids, because there's a lot of nonprofits that we even talk to that help kids with baseball and basketball and soccer, and you know, it's a nonprofit to teach them how to play and have team spirit and all that kind of fun stuff. The community foundation, if they know about your nonprofit, they can refer you, and people can actually specifically put their real estate proceeds in a fund that can fund your nonprofit over the next 10, 20 years. So that's a little bit deeper in the weeds, off topic than today, but suffice it to say that we will help you with those conversations too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking the questions. Because
what exactly is a community foundation? The differentiation, please.
Sure. So I don't know exactly what the definition of them are, Deborah, but if you Google community foundations, you'll find that there are thousands of them all over the country. And for example, here in Florida, just in the area we're in, there's the Gulf Coast Community Foundation. There's the Sarasota Manatee County Community Foundation. They can be countywide, citywide, region-wide. It can be a specific religion that has a community foundation. And basically what they are is a conglomeration of people that are so entrenched in the community and community focused. They have relationships with lots and lots of nonprofits. So the donor that comes to the community foundation says, you know, I want to give to Sarasota. I want to give to San Diego. I want to help in Texas, but I don't know who to give it to. Can you help me? So the community foundations are really well knowledgeable about their community. People want to give to the Jewish community. People want to help with children's organizations. So it's really rather fascinating. The donor can give to a fund that is for children, or they can give to a fund that's for the county or for a specific topic. So, just Google community foundation and you'll find that there's a dozen, no matter where you are in the country, that you could be communicating with.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so we learn as we go, right? I've been in real estate a long time, doing a lot of fundraising for lots of years, learned about charitable gifting of real estate. And I actually ruined a few relationships with community foundations in the beginning because I didn't know what I didn't know. So we're here to help you. So for example, I reached out to a community foundation talking about charitable real estate. And in the very beginning, there was one that said, oh, well, we already take real estate. And I'm ignorant. I'm new to this. I'm excited. I'm just calling and talking to people. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Well, have a nice day. But what I've learned over the last couple of years is even when they say they can take real estate, that doesn't mean they ever have. And they most definitely do not accept real estate from all over the country, all over the world in some cases, and the majority of them do not take any real estate that has a mortgage or that the donor wants money back. So in other words, they might take vacant, free and clear real estate in their county. And if they can, awesome. They can do that. What we're saying to them is, what about all the other counties in your state or all the other states? Like, we want to help expand their thinking around that. Connie Myers, what can I help you with?
Well, I think you just kind of answered part of the question, so thank you. But it really is helpful to have a little more clear understanding of what a community foundation is. So most communities have a community foundation?
Yes, they do. Yep. Yeah, especially the really well-populated ones will have more than one. So you might have a Jewish community foundation. You might have a Baptist community foundation. You might have a county. So if you just start to Google it, and I'm really starting to wrap my head around it thanks to a guy named Rick Peck. So actually, I just did an interview this past week. Rick Peck runs, is part of running the community foundation in New Hampshire, the New Hampshire Community Foundation, which is where I lived for 20 years. Come to find out, the New Hampshire Community Foundation manages $1 billion of donor advised funds and many different kinds of funds. And Rick is really helping me to understand our collaboration with these community foundations. We are not their competition. We are not their taking away from what they're doing. We bring a huge value to them. So that interview, friends, will be out this week. My assistant is editing it as we speak. Highly recommend that you watch them. And Connie, especially for you being a nonprofit, as a nonprofit, when you call the community foundation, they welcome you. They love you. They exist to help people find you. They have donors right now who've already put money in funds, maybe for safety issues, right? So it's really important that you start reaching out to them, because once again, New Hampshire Community Foundation has $1 billion right now. Now, how they disperse it and how much they send out in grants and all that, I can't get into all that. I don't know. But they have it, and you could get a check from a community foundation this week if you were partnered up with them. So we'll be doing some more trainings on that too.
Sounds great. Thanks.
You're welcome. Coach Trey, let me give you one more, then we're going to jump back in and get this material finished up. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is quick. I know several, I'm in a fraternity that's across the country. So if somebody that I refer is in Texas, how would that, do I need to contact a real agent of change realtor in Texas?
Well,
to the situation.
There's a lot of missing pieces there. I don't know if they're a property owner, if they're a nonprofit, if they're a financial advisor. But so you came in through Sam Silver, right? Mm-hmm. So Sam can be your go-to person. He's one of the best in our group to have as a go-to person. He is on it. He understands how this works. He's fabulous at creating marketing pieces and could actually give you some different digital collateral that could help you with that. But suffice it to say that there are referral fees for if you're part of the group and somebody else comes in to become a specialist or champion. We'll give you a finder's fee, an affiliate fee, a joint venture fee, if you will. When donations of real estate come in, there's marketing fees and finder fees for that. We get into that a little bit later in the presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, guys, let me jump into the next section. Now, section 5 that we're getting into gets a little bit in the weeds with numbers. And let me just say, I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. I'm not a financial advisor. I am definitely not somebody to coach or counsel you on how this works. This is a conversation about what does it look like for a traditional sale versus a donation, side-by-side comparison about why people are donating for their tax benefits. So just a bird's eye view of that. Going to get in the weeds a little bit, but that's okay. Just hang tight. So here's the details and the documents and the do's and don'ts and what qualifies as a donation of real estate and what are some of these forms that you might want to know about. So when it comes to what qualifies as a donation, there's really three things you need to know. Number one, no timeshares, period. Timeshare is not real estate. Number two, it needs to have equity because it is the equity that is being donated to the nonprofit. So if there is no equity, there is no donation. And number three, it needs to be marketable, meaning if it can't be sold to get that equity give to the nonprofit world, if it's ramshackled out in the middle of nowhere and nobody wants it. Now we can make it marketable because now we have money to fix that property up because of the third party specialized nonprofit. And as I mentioned earlier, at the very beginning of this presentation, we are adding ways to help people with distressed property. We are adding ways that investment property can actually make you money. And Alan's going to be talking about that tonight at 7 p.m. So if you want to learn more about that, this presentation is all about donated property. So here's some examples of what qualifies as a gift, just to kind of get those creative juices flowing. So any kind of residential, and that could be a primary home. Some of those houses that we looked at, even Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, Mackenzie, one of those houses was was probably a second and third home, but they're beautiful residential primary homes, secondary homes, investment properties, could be a beach house or a lakefront property or what have you. Anything residential is fine. Commercial, any kind of commercial. So now we're talking about multifamilies and strip malls and restaurants and office buildings, any kind of storage facility. If it's commercial, it's a really big deal, especially from the perspective of this whole capital gains tax and people wanting to write off property. Commercial property is a big deal. So residential average is 550, 600,000. Commercial average donation is 900,000 and up. Land, any kind of ranch, raw land, residential, commercial, once again, land, farms, any kind of land. So no timeshares. Now, what qualifies for the length of ownership? So in order for capital gains tax to be avoided, the property needs to have been owned by that individual for at least a year. And to really get into any more details about that, you want to talk to Realty Gift Fund, our specialized nonprofit. Jim Wooten, man, now that Jim Wooten is a real agent of change, he is an invaluable resource. He lives in Ohio, but he is super easy to get in touch with. And we're doing more trainings with Jim to get into all the tax benefits of this because he's been studying it, doing it for 25 years. Marketability, as I mentioned, that simply means the property needs to be a viable property to sell. So when you think about it, specialized nonprofit is taking title. They are taking on financial responsibility. They are paying the monthly taxes and insurance and upkeep and HOA fees and electricity and plowing the driveway or whatever needs to be done. So when you think about a property, if you say, well, Cammie, what about this property that no one wants out in the middle of nowhere? Well, why would these people take title to that? Why would they take on the responsibility of a property they can't market? So we want to make sure that it's something that can sell. Underlying tax circumstances. So, you know, once again, 80% of the people who donate through us, the way that this works, it's because of altruistic reasons. We don't want to find out that the reason they're doing this is only to pull one over on the government. That can be a dirty and lack integrity. We don't want any of that stuff. Minimum equity, there's really not so much a minimum of equity anymore. When you think about the average being 550,000, if that's the average, then a minimum doesn't come into play as much as you might think. 250,000 makes it all worthwhile for everyone involved. However, that cabin that I've mentioned that Linda donated, it was only a $39,000 donation. So, you know, it depends on the circumstances. It depends on how complex it is. There's a lot of varying circumstances, but ultimately we're looking for 250,000 minimum. Average equity, 540, 550, now 600,000. And frankly, by the end of the year, the average is $1 million. And yeah, maximum size is unlimited. So it can be any size. All right, documents that are required. So whatever state the property is in, it's their state documents. However, because it's a donation, let's look at a couple of these. There's something called the net gift estimate. So when the donor comes to the table and we have an actual property with actual tax consequences and actual payoffs and you know, amounts that the donor wants back, etc. It's you know, it's really hard to go off fictitious, well, Cammie, what if? But when there's an actual property, there is a net gift estimate, and it actually moves and fluctuates from start to finish. So it might say that on that net gift estimate, they think they need $20,000 to repair the roof. Next thing you know, they need $40,000 to replace it. So it can change and morph, but the net gift estimate is also what says how much money is going to what nonprofits. Okay, donation agreement versus bargain sale agreement. If the property is free and clear and no money exchanges hands, it is a donation. If any money for any reason exchanges hands, then in essence, the specialized nonprofit is buying the property at a bargain. Therefore, it is a bargain sale. It's one or the other as far as the agreement goes. Donation disclosure agreement, just like any other real estate, has disclosures. Just talks about that, you know, there's a professional appraisal done. Has all the players, all the triangle of trust is talked about in the agreement. IRS Form 8283. Now remember, do what you do best, refer the rest. You do not have to learn how to fill out forms to the IRS. We don't want you filling them out. I'm not going to fill them out. I don't want to be involved in anything with the IRS. That's what the specialized nonprofit's for. We just want you to understand how it all goes down. So this is the form. Donor comes to the table. This guy in December last year, December 10th, hey, can I get a donation deduction this year? Yes, you can. So the form that he got to give to the IRS was the 8283. And it was signed by the appraiser, it was signed by the donor, and it was signed by the specialized nonprofit who took title. So those three people are signing this property is appraised at $450,000, etc. That's what goes to the IRS to kick off the tax deduction. Now, the IRS 8282 is the form that is sent after the property sells. It is only signed by the specialized nonprofit, in our case, or whoever the nonprofit is that took the donation, and it's kind of a check and balance. So if 8283 was sent to the IRS stating that the appraised value is $1 million, then the 8282 gets sent to them. This property sold for $852,000 or $1,083,000. In other words, they're just checking to make sure that everything is above board. Listing agreement, purchase and sales, whatever is in your state. There's nothing special or new about it. Just like an REO property or relocation property, it's just Bill and Mary Smith aren't signing it now. Now it's Realty Gift Fund or the specialized nonprofit. Donation bargain sale agreements. People ask, well, how do I know my nonprofit's going to get the money? How do I know when I introduce you to John Smith that when his property sells, that my nonprofit is going to get the money? Friends, this is a real estate agreement, just like any other real estate agreement. The specialized nonprofit is a 501c3 designated by the government to do this. They do it for Fidelity, Charitables, and all those other laundry list of nonprofits I mentioned to you before. This is a legitimate business that is happening every day. So the donation bargain sale agreement is what actually outlines that. It's actually at clause number 18. It will say, based on our preliminary due diligence, this property appraises at $1 million. Based on everything we know here, this is how much is going to the Boys and Girls Club. This is how much is going to the church. This is how much is going back to the donor to give him money. In other words, it's all lined out just like any other real estate agreement. Okay, here is the comparison that I have alluded to that will show you why a donor would donate real estate. Now, on the far left is the depreciation schedule. And this is just showing you the numbers that we are using to base the comparison on for this. This was an actual deal, but for this actual donor. So based on this depreciation schedule, conventional sale on the left, charitable donation on the right. This is a $4.5 million property. That is the appraised value, and we're just going to go with that as the sales price. So here's what we're comparing right now. Notice on the left, because it's a traditional sale, there is $219,000 going to the government for depreciation or capture tax, and $662,000 going to the government for capital gains tax. Compared to on the right-hand side, that 900-something thousand didn't go to the government. Now, cash benefit to the nonprofit, cash benefit to the donor. Because on the left-hand side, 900,000 went to the government, the donation that this nonprofit is receiving is $3.3 million, versus on the other side, the fact that the nonprofit is receiving $4.1 million. So that money that went to the government is now going to the nonprofit because of the deduction. When we talk about the cash benefit to the donor, this is starting to get into writing it off of their adjusted gross income. So on the left-hand side, the donor is writing off $3.3 million because it's after those expenses. But on the right-hand side, the donor is writing off the full appraised value of $4.5 million. So that 1.5 on the left is actually $2 million on the right that they're able to write off. And so you'll see the increased value on the far right-hand side. There's more money going to the nonprofit by 26%. There's more of a cash benefit to the donor by 36%. And the overall cash value of the property goes from 4.8 million to 6.2 million. We call this charitable leverage. There's a 29% increase in the value of the property when it is donated because of what I just pointed out. Now, I'm happy to answer a question or two if I can clarify that, but I just want you to know, do what you do best for the rest. And this is a great example of me living in the moment. This is not my forte. I don't want to be a CPA. I don't want to explain taxes to people. It is a liability for me or any of you to do that. We just want you to know this is a basic comparison. All right. This is the property evaluation form. It's online at therock.com/property evaluation. This is what the donor would fill out to get the ball rolling. At the top, you'll see that the first question, the most important question, what is your charitable intention? Why are you wanting to donate this property? This is super important because we want to know, is this person philanthropically inclined, or is there something shady going on here? So that's the first question. And then the rest of the document is basic information that any realtor would be getting from any client that they're meeting with about the value of the property, what they owe on it, et cetera, et cetera. Real basic property evaluation. Now, this is what we call the roadmap. And you can have this created for yourself too. You'll notice that this one is customized. You got Michael Deshavi and EXP that he's with there. God's Love We Deliver is a nonprofit that he likes to work with. So this has been customized for Michael, and you can have these customized as well. In the next section, we're going to talk about what it looks like to be a specialist and a champion and how you can get these personalized. So I'm just going to go through this. I'm going to take 3 minutes to show you how easy it is to explain how this works. And we are not suggesting that any of you go out and try to explain this right this red hot minute. But for people like Sam Silver, who've been around for a while, for people like Bo with 47 years of experience in real estate, he's been to the class 10 times, this is a real easy way to explain it. So number one, we have a gift of real estate. Where the gift came from, was it on the donor list of the church? Was it a financial advisor that referred them? Where they came from is a different conversation. Right now, we just know we have a piece of property, and we know that there's an 80% chance the reason this donor donated, because they love God's Love We Deliver. And there's a 20% chance that they donated it because they need a tax advantage. Either way, we've got a marketable piece of real estate. So let's slide on over to number 2. Specialized nonprofit facilitates the transaction. They take title, they assume all risks, they pay off any mortgages, they give the donor the tax advantage that they're looking for. And now that the specialized nonprofit has title to the property, we slide down to number 3. They list the property, preferably with a charitable real estate specialist, especially if they're the one that brought the nonprofit and the donation to the table. So now that the specialized nonprofit has listed it with Michael, he just listed just like any other real estate he's ever listed. And when it is liquidated, we slide to number 4. There is a check cut to God's Love We Deliver. In this case, the money goes straight to the nonprofit that the donor chooses, whether it's one nonprofit divvied out amongst 3, 5, or 10 nonprofits, whether it's put into a donor advised fund, sent to a community foundation, whatever the donor wants done with their donation, number 4. Now, number 5, what we're saying here is cause marketing campaigns, marketing our for-profits and nonprofits to let people know that donations of real estate are happening. We do PR. We want to have a press release put out. We want to make sure that people know that this is happening so that it happens more often. Because when we are driving that awareness, somebody sees it in the newspaper. They see you being interviewed next to the sign outside the property. When these people want to donate more real estate, we go back to number 1. They saw it in the news. They want to donate real estate. So now we've got a piece of real estate. Now that we have that donor, go to number 2. Specialized nonprofit takes title, pays off mortgages, takes on all financial responsibility, gives the donor the tax benefits they're looking for. Next thing that happens is they list it with a real estate agent in that marketplace, preferably the one that's been part of the whole process that deserves the listing. What if it's a listing that you brought to the table that's in another state? Well, then you get a referral fee, and some agent in that area gets a listing. And now when it sells, back down to number 4, the nonprofit world gets funded. And number 5, if everybody involved wants to wash, rinse, repeat, have it happen again, imagine the PR for all these for-profits. Imagine if the property was something that had been foreclosed on and Bank of America donated it. Imagine the PR between you, your financial advisor, your real estate company, Bank of America, Boys and Girls Club, veteran group, all coming together to help people see that this is happening all around them. This is why nonprofits and realtors and financial advisors, etc., this is why you're here, is so that we can help you with the only system and support and strategy in the world to find the donations of real estate, to handle the real estate donations, to do this positioning, partnering, and promoting, to find more donations of real estate. We have the only national database. So I've mentioned the map a couple of times. Let's check this out. So Alan's already put in the chat the link to go here. But the concept is this map was 2 years coming, and we just got it created about 6-9 months ago. And now, as people become a specialist and get certified, they are featured on the map. And as you hover around, you find them. So if you see your state is not represented, congratulations. You're the first one in Wyoming, and you'll always be the first one. If you see that your state is represented, awesome. They're already stepping into being visionary. You're still going to be the first one in your marketplace, in your area, but you got other people to help work together to educate people. So that's into section 5. I am actually going to see if you guys have a question. I'm going to play a quick video. I'm going to play the I am a real agent of change declaration. And when we come back, we're going to finish this up with what does it look like to be a specialist and or a champion. You can take this information and go do anything you want with it for free. But what we want to say is there is a community here that can help support you. So any questions I can help you with while I'm getting this video ready? All right, I'm just going to share screen. This is going to play for about 3 minutes, and then I'll come back and we'll finish it up.
I am a real agent of change. A real agent of change takes a stand for those we are called for to serve and support.
We believe you can make excuses or you can make it happen.
But you cannot do both.
We are go-getters, do-gooders, trailblazers, and visionaries who know that making money and making a difference go hand in hand.
A real agent of change is open to new ideas, eager to take action, and boldly goes where others cannot even see.
We plant our flag. We burn our bridge. We walk through the fire to rise up, transform.
We look for reasons why something will work,
Not why it won't.
When others ask why bother, a real agent of change's motto is,
if it is a benefit to all, including myself, then I must do it.
we serve instead of sell.
We collaborate versus compete.
We understand that giving and receiving are simultaneous.
And we know the difference between a transaction and a transformation.
A real agent of change is influential and uses that superpower for good.
We know that our actions, or lack thereof, have an impact on our family,
our community, our marketplace, and the world.
We do not take this for granted. We inspire.
We are inspired.
We are inspired.
We are an inspiration for everyone we meet.
The real agent of change knows that we can double profitability for ourselves and all those with whom we partner.
We are passionate, purposeful, and playful.
Pragmatic, present, and positioned as a partner who promotes
the benefits of charitable real estate.
knowing their causes, companies, and communities.
Every damn body deserves to win. Oh, too fun. All right. So let's finish this up and share with you what it looks like to be a specialist and or a champion. So we're just gonna assume that since you have been with us here for right at 3 hours today, that you see a benefit in what we're doing and that you want to be one of those people that is considered a change agent and out doing big things in your community. And you can go do anything you want with this. If you find a deal and bring it to the table, we're happy to help you handle it. But why not go ahead and get some of that support to help you become proactive? So Dr. James, if you were with us in the beginning, you heard the recording, the beginning of our book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not. He talks about how the numbers are clear. Transformational philanthropy comes from major assets like real estate, but numbers aren't the problem. The problem is action. People can understand the ideas and nod their heads at the numbers, but nothing. Friends, the disease is inertia and fear, and the cure is what we're doing here at the Real Agents of Change. So remember how we talked about key number 1 is to learn. Well, congratulations, you learned, you know the basics of what charitable real estate is. This is an image of what it looks like to start taking action. So charitable real estate specialist is a package, and it includes you attending the master class like you just did, but also getting the online recorded version of this. So when you get the online version, we've got a couple of different versions that we've done, same basic information that you can watch, rewatch as much as you like. We invite you to always come back to the master class live. Right now, the master class is free, but it won't be forever. By the first of the year, you will have to be a specialist before you can even come to the master class. And you'll always have access to that. You'll also be able to bring guests with you. When you become a specialist, you also get certified. So when you get certified, you take a test, you get an 80% or more and you pass. We've never had anybody not pass the test. You've sat here for 3 hours, you can take that test. And you also get the licensing agreement to use the logos and the images and to refer to yourself as a CCRES. It's a 1-year licensing fee. It's just like any other certification, real estate certification or other. It's an annual thing. You are also featured on the map. And the map, with the new marketing that we have coming out soon with Keith Eichele, our goal is to have this map and the Real Agents of Change come up as #1 in YouTube when people are Googling learning how to do this. So imagine you'll be on a map where you come up as #1 in this industry when people are Googling it. Now, the specialist has been $400 for the last couple of years, but right now we have a special that I alluded to earlier where you can do it for $97. And it won't be like that forever, but here's what it looks like. Beyond Living is a 501c3 that is helping with the housing issue, and they believe in what we're doing so much that they are sponsoring this. They are wanting to help provide scholarships. So all you have to invest is $97. Now, Beyond Living, if you go to this link, therock.com/Beyond Living, you can get a free copy of the book, PDF copy of the book. We're going to be doing a book review the first of the year. We're going to start having a weekly live Zoom with the author, myself, going through section by section by section. Because friends, this isn't just about what is charitable gifting of real estate. You got the basic understanding of that now. You know more than 99.9% of people in your marketplace. But what are you going to do with it? So we're going to start going through the book. So the Beyond Living link will get you the $97 special and a copy of the book. So key number one, you learned. And as a specialist, you know, I think about this just like a heart specialist or a kidney specialist or any kind of doctor or attorney or marketing or real estate. You can be a luxury specialist. You can be a waterfront specialist. Specialists just have more knowledge than anyone else in their field. So as a specialist, you know more. But champions are those people who actually take action and do something with their new knowledge. So I'm going to share with you now what it looks like to be a charitable real estate champion that helps you to lead generate, list, liquidate, leverage, leave legacy, and step into the collaboration, the positive partnering energy. So position, partner, promote. For example, Jim Wooten became one of our charitable real estate champions about 30 days ago now. And I was blown away that this legend and his book and all that he knows about this, he is more excited about this than just about anybody else in the group. This gives you the opportunity to position, partner, and promote with people like Jim. Jim and I and the other handful of the group here are going to be teaching this to community foundations very soon. We are getting on stages together and we want to invite you to be a part of that. So here's what it looks like for the champion upgrade. I'm going to pull up a few bullet points of different topics and trainings, some of which are already recorded and in the back office of the champion package. Some we do live. So, you know, we talk about, friends, talk to your warm market. Don't worry about cold market. Don't worry about sending an email to 500 nonprofits. Your warm market will get you in front of the right people. We'll teach you about that. We talk about how to set intention so that you pay attention to who you're talking to and what you're saying to create that retention. Just a lot of fun ways to alliterate the 5 keys to leverage real estate for real change. Do what you do best, refer the rest. We teach how to leverage these resources and relationships that you find here with the Real Agents of Change. How to start conversations about charitable real estate is one of the biggest issues. Just because you know what this is doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go out and have a really easy, intelligent conversation about it. Dr. Russell James taught us this phrase, the 4 S's. Story, 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 stop talking. We'll teach you how to tell a story about what you've learned that will help people want to come learn more. We talk about how you want to talk from your heart and not your head. Stop with the techno babble. We are confusing people, and confused people do nothing. We talked about planting seeds and the seed analogy that some people need a tax deduction this red hot minute, and some people were planting seeds for 6 months or 6 years from now. Trainings, videos, live Zooms. My first book was about networking. We call it net webbing and creating your net wealth. All right, top 10. This is super important. We are talking about how to bring together the purposeful, profitable partners. Top 10 real estate businesses like mortgage and title and home inspectors, etc. Top 10 real estate agents, around the country. Top 10 nonprofits that you want to work with. We've got different campaigns around senior care or veterans or animals or churches? Who are the top 10 in the senior care industry that could help you? Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and Friends of Hospice. So the point is, there's a lot of strategy. Where to find these property donors? Where do you find them? And what do you say to them about this? How to do a charitable real estate 101 presentation. Friends, you know, we've gotten so many videos that are 2 minutes to 20 minutes, this 3-hour master class. But what about you? Wouldn't you like to be? And maybe you do, and maybe you don't. If you don't want to be the Superman with the cape on the video, if you want to be behind the scenes, that's fine. For those of us who want to show up as the presenter, as the expert, let's teach you how to do that. Let's talk about how to answer the top 10 questions. Let's give warm introductions versus cold referrals. So the point is, this is all part of what we're doing when you become a charitable real estate champion. This thing called the 7 P's from purpose to payoff, just going to get this all up on the slide. This is a mindset. This is a strategy that even before I was teaching the master class, I was already teaching people the 7 P's. I used to sell this for $600 and people would come to an all-day workshop. This is all part of what we're doing here with the Real Agents of Change. Champion resources, the signs. These are signs that you can have created. Oakley Sign Company is a partner with us now. You can put these signs right in your list, in the yard of the current listings that you have. You can put these sign riders on top of the listings you already have. We have postcards and emails and all kinds of different social media scripts. We've got weekly live Zooms on Thursdays at 6 p.m. We do a strategy call together. We do role play. We do the presentation skills. And it's $97 a month. $97 a month. No contract, cancel anytime. So to be clear, you have to be a charitable real estate specialist first. You can do them both right now, but we need you to be certified. We need you to be able to use the logos. We need to have you on that map so that we can promote as a champion. So you become a specialist first, $97. Why wouldn't you do that? And then this is $97 a month. But we have some customized marketing that we want to offer you if you so choose. So the most common thing that people do is the $9.97 for a whole year of champion. And not only does that give you 2 months for free, but here's the customized marketing that you get. So therock.com/Alan Biles, therock.com/Jim Wooten. Hey, can you put that in the chat, please, Alan? therock.com/Jim Wooten. I want all of you to go there anyway, because at the bottom of his page, his book is there for free. You put in your name and email, and you can get that book for free. But it shows you an example of what these personalized pages look like. It includes having your bio updated, which is not free. We have to pay the team to do that. You get 2 versions of the roadmap. So remember, I was showing you the roadmap and Michael DeShavi, and it was customized with the nonprofit he loves, Coach Trey. You can have that roadmap created with your nonprofit, right? And any other realtor that wants to create imagine if you had 3, 5, 10, 20, 100 realtors all over the country that had a roadmap with your nonprofit down at number 4, where the money's going to. Here's some other bonuses. I'm going to do an interview with you if you so choose. It's a 15-minute interview as a real agent of change. You can leverage this interview to put on social media, to send out in a press release, to send to people that you want to introduce the concept to. So when we do the interview, we'll give you some free promotions that are personalized, like what these look like. We'll give you a customized Zoom background. So as you can see mine behind me, you can have something like that. We've got a few different variations, and these are some basic concepts that we will personalize for you. You'll get an autographed copy of the book. So as a champion, when you pay annually, you just get the payment out of the way, then I'll autograph a book and mail it to you right away. I want to schedule a 30-minute one-on-one session with you about what's next, because I know this is a lot of information and it's very overwhelming. But when you do the full package there, we'll have this session to talk about what's next. Cause marketing campaign. Remember all those flyers we were showing with Realtors for Recovery and Habitat for Humanity and all those cause marketing campaigns that I was doing for years before I learned about charitable gifting of real estate? This campaign, it used to be, we were looking for an event hall and what golf course were we going to do it at, and all those types of things. But this is still so super valuable around mindset and language and how to communicate with people about your passion. So this is a bonus. This was actually a $1997 product for several years, and that's a bonus when you do the $9.97 for the full year champion package and get the 2 months free. So just to wrap it up, remember how at the very beginning I told you our thing at the Real Agents of Change is donations of real estate. People that are looking to donate, whether it's a portion or the whole real estate. Our thing is about leveraging real estate for real change. However, we have now partnered with some other folks who can add, what if the person who owns the real estate is in a distressed situation? Maybe it's not renting or it's not selling. Maybe there are a couple of mortgage payments behind for whatever reason. What if it's an investor that has an investment property and maybe they're bringing in $2,500 a month? We have ways of showing them how to increase that to $6,500 a month, in some cases $8,800 a month. So we can help investors to increase their profit with less work. They don't have to manage the property anymore. And because of that, you can get a monthly referral fee, $200, $300, $500 a month to you personally. And if it was a nonprofit that brought those folks to the table, imagine if your church was getting $300 a month every month, year after year, because an investor is making more money. So these are things that we've added to the table. Of course, you know, our thing is donated real estate, but these things that we've added, we are partners with this group called Beyond Living. And tonight at 7 p.m. on this Solveris gathering, where the Solveris, The Rock, and Beyond Living all come together, we will be talking about how those other pieces of the program come together. So I don't want to confuse you. You are here with the Real Agents of Change to learn about charitable gifting of real estate. And if your head is swimming like I know it is, and you just got a lot of questions just about charitable real estate, that's fine. Let's just keep you right on that. That is our main bread and butter. That is my personal mission. I'm happy to stay here for a few more minutes and answer questions. But for those of you who've been with us for a little bit and you're ready to take on the next thing, you're ready to learn the next evolution, we want to invite you to this for 7 p.m. tonight. And Alan, if you can just make sure that in the chat, we have the link to the /Beyond Living to get the specialist for $97 first. And then if you want to do the champion package, actually, by the way, let me just show this and then we'll be taking it to an end here. On our website, therock.com/store. You come to the website, you'll see there's 3 different packages, if you will. The master class, don't worry about this. You've already taken it. You just took the master class. This is the recorded version. It's $47 for people who just want to do it online and do the recorded version. Don't worry about that, because when you become a specialist, you get the recorded version of the master class. And if you were to click on this specialist, you'd see that we sell this online for $400. So what we want you to do here is actually go to the Beyond Living / to get it for 97. And then after you do that, now you can come into the Champion and do the Champion upgrade. And if you come in here, you'll see all of the marketing that comes with the Champion upgrade. And you can click right here on the Champion upgrade, and you can do the 97 a month, no contract, or you can do the 997 to get the customized bonus material. Questions?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So it's the 97 for the specialist plus 997 for the champion.
If you want help with the marketing strategy, the community support, then yes, you can do the Champion upgrade after you become a specialist. You do it all right in this red hot moment. In other words, you don't have to become a specialist and then wait for something to be a champion. I just want people to know the specialist is the foundation. It's the first thing, and then the champion. Yes. So, Coach Trey, you've had a lot of great questions. What do you see as being a benefit for you personally or professionally here?
Actually, I'm gonna give you three things. Your earrings with the peace sign, the real agent of change, because living in Philadelphia in the Delaware Valley, there's since the 90s there has been, for lack of a better term, an urban war. I was in the midst of it as a firefighter in the 90s, and I lost 5 football players the last 5 months. But there's a lot of nonprofits that have missed out on the millions of dollars in grants because of, the game of the grant game. And lastly, the fact that it's I know I could be a specialist, but I love the word champion. So, and in the midst of what I'm doing, I know quite a bit of people that don't know about this. And I'm also part of a major semi-pro basketball association that could benefit this, because we have over 100 teams across the country.
Last night, the event that you sat in on, we were at with that church group. One of the guys that they have Friday night with the fellas where they do a Bible study, and one of them is a former Tampa Bay football player, and my fiance Alan has been getting to know him. And the fact is, all of these football players, basketball players, all of the actors and performers, all these people have their own nonprofits, and the majority of them are wanting to put a hand back into their community and help the kids come out of bad living situations, etc. They just need to know, because they have real estate, and all the nonprofits that are coming at them have their hand out for cash, and the fact is, there's only so much cash anybody has. So for you to be visionary enough to see that those players need to know that there is a better way for them to give. Again, Alan says Odie Harris is a friend of his that I met this weekend when we did this event together. So good for you, Coach Trey. I personally want to make sure that Sam and Alan, who work with you, will all come together and do a strategy together and get you off the ground, rocking and rolling. Anybody else have any questions or anything I can clear up for you about what we are offering here? Well, we wrapped it up a little bit over 3 hours. It was a good timing. Now remember, We do this the first and the third Tuesday every month right now live. We don't always do it live, but it is now. And it won't always be free, but it is now. So you can bring people to this. Let me go over just a handful of other things. Thursday this week, 9 to 12 Eastern Time, I'm doing the CE class for realtors in Florida. This is only Florida to get your 3-hour credit, but there is different information in that class. So if any of you want to sit in on it just for shits and giggles, you certainly can. We'll get you the link for that. Alan is speaking tonight at 7 p.m. Our book is coming out as for mass production. So we're scheduling book signings, doing a book tour. And look, you know, when I go to Barnes and Noble and sell 10 books, that's not what it was about. It was about the positioning. Imagine when you all can say, hey, you know, I'm part of this movement, I'm part of this revolution. And, you know, at 4 o'clock, she's doing a book signing at Barnes and Noble. And at 7 o'clock, she's going to be at our church telling us how this can fund our church by the millions. In other words, it's just great for positioning. Tomorrow, Wednesday, this is all Eastern time stuff, 5 p.m. Actually, Alan, can you put in the chat Cami'sZoom.com? My personal Zoom link, I went and got the domain, Cami'sZoom.com. So what I'm getting ready to share with you is at that link, 5 p.m., going over how nonprofits can 6 times their donations from the donors they already have. 6 p.m., I'm going over the presentation directed towards realtors, how realtors can create purpose-driven career listing, donating real estate. And at 7 p.m. tomorrow, I'm inviting CPAs, tax accountants, attorneys, people that need to know about the tax benefit at this late time of the year. We are creating some
Did you say 6 or 7 p.m. tomorrow night, please, Tammy?
6 p.m. is for realtors, 7 p.m. is for CPAs, people talking about the tax benefit.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome. We're doing something with the Church Guy Network. So Church Guy with EXP is wanting us to help bring this to 50,000 churches around the country. So we're creating some specific language and videos specifically for Christ-centered, faith-based individuals. 28% of all giving is through religion, so that's a big niche and a big need. And we are also doing stuff with community foundations that we want to help educate and teach you guys about as well. So last thing, who do you know that owns real estate companies, mortgage companies, title companies? We partnered with the Mergers and Acquisition Group, and we can help because this, especially right now with what's getting ready to happen in the real estate market, people are either going to want to grow or go. They're either going to retire or start to hire. And what I want to say is, if you can refer us to someone that is wanting to sell their business or acquire new locations, on average, your finder's fee will be 2% of the sales price. So if it's $1 million real estate office, you just made 20 grand for referring them. If it's a $5 million title company, do the math. That's a lot of money. It's 100 grand in referral fee. So the company that we're working with doesn't want thousands and thousands of people. They brought in 25 of us that have connections. So you can't work for them, but you can help bring us the deal, and we will give you a hefty finder fee. So when you're talking to people and they sing the blues, oh my God, I've been in real estate for 30 years. I can't believe it. I don't want to go through another crash. What a nightmare. You can say, hey, have you thought about an exit strategy? I can help you with that. If you talk to some young upstart, you're like, oh my God, I can smell the blood in the water. We're getting ready to start adding locations. We want to buy up mortgage companies, bring them our way because we can help them buy. So buying and selling of real estate, mortgage, and title. Just want to throw that out. We'll be talking about it more, but I know the people who are on here right now want to know about it. So
Yeah, Cammie, in that capacity, are you the buyer, seller, or advisor of those one of 25?
I am one of the advisors bringing them to come be partnered with a buyer or a seller. So it's a mergers and acquisitions, real estate mergers and acquisitions is the name of the company. And they are focused only on the real estate industry. They don't want dry cleaners. They don't want, auto dealerships. They only want real estate focused businesses. They'll help them buy and sell. All right, friends, I just want you to know how much I appreciate you, your passion, your commitment. Those of you who show up week after week, those of you who are just stepping in, welcome to the tribe, welcome to the revolution. And it's only getting bigger and better every time we do this class. So bless you. You all have my number. You can friend us on Facebook, join the Facebook group. We got free information over there. A lot of stuff on YouTube. Always happy to help however we can. So see you next time. Bye-bye.